Hey, Chef X Bill, and welcome in. Out of curiosity, because I see first time chat, and yet you're also the first person to chat in here. How'd you find the stream? All right, today is going to be about Adam is going to work on adding buildings to Skeleseller, and at a stream uptime of about 2 hours, he's going to mentor Peter. There may not be an afternoon stream today, depending on how the morning goes. Yeah. Okay. I want to take care of this stuff too, so that this just doesn't keep expanding out of control. Yesterday was not a great day for productivity, at least not on this stuff. I had other plans, and it's let's just say the reason why I want to take the afternoon off today is the reason why nothing really got done yesterday. I think there's just been too much going on. Also, I should probably just message Peter. It's today, right? Yeah, it's today. All right, yeah. Hey, Myth. Huh, weird. All the icons are broken. Let me refresh chat and see if that fixes it. Yes, that did. Cool. All right, so what if you could pick up every item at once with a hotkey? This is something I'll put in the design document. I don't think it's something I need to file an issue for. But I like the idea at least. Ideas. Maybe I'll just put like item ideas. All right, and we'll just copy paste this here. What if loot always dropped on the ground out of the portal? If nothing is done with it in time, it flashes and disappears. It would mean that you could pick it up and put it on display if we wanted. It could eventually give you an upgrade saying that it floats. Yeah. I don't like that idea, but I like this one. Let's file this over here. Okay. Yeah, cool. Gotcha. I was gonna say, you've never needed a reminder in the past. This one, I think I will file an issue for. I have a bunch of stuff about saving. Save battle state. I'll just write an issue, a new one. Make sure saving while dragging an item doesn't do anything bad. I haven't tested this, so maybe everything is just fine, but I should test it. Shouldn't even be saving. We shouldn't even be saving that an item is selected in the first place. All right, label, save, and priority like a P1. Milestone, just whenever, it doesn't matter. All right, so building stuff. I don't know where we left off. Let's go find out where we left off. Oh, it's in the past iteration. We got to move this to the current one. Current. Is that all? Am I done? Yes, I am. Okay, let's open this issue now. Building stuff. Okay, I don't remember where we left off. I haven't been thinking about this too much since Tuesday, so let's take a look. Oh yeah, this whole signpost. What am I working on? Working on a game called Skeleseller, and the way that the game opened right now, this is still an alpha version, so it's not like this is that close to launch. The way the game opens right now is this. There's a lot going on. You're like, what do I even do here? And that was never really the intent, but you got to start somewhere. So what we're going to start with instead is that you're looking at something just like maybe this much of the screen. And you'll click this signpost here, and you see guild lets you hire and level up adventurers. And you actually don't have a choice. This is the only thing you'll be able to do in the game at the beginning. So you click build, and your guild is just a signboard at first, which is probably not expected. There probably needs to be some explanation around this. And then we probably also need like an exclamation mark or something to show up over here. In fact, that's probably how we should indicate everything. Let's see. Anything that requires your attention should have an indication. that you can do something. Perhaps we use the yellow exclamation mark for everything like this. The guild signboard, or the signpost at the beginning of the game could have it. Then the guild board could have it. And we probably want to explain why the guild is just a signboard. Maybe you are just building a help wanted sign and it eventually turns into the guild somehow. Maybe another signpost can show up after you've built the board, the help wanted board, and say upgrade to guild, 1500G. Yeah, something like that could be interesting. Okay, anyway, so now we have a way of you building this thing, which I didn't ever write anything about saving or loading, did I? No, of course not. All right, let's write that down too. Allow for saving and loading buildings. Yeah, so next you should be able to click this and you should be able to hire your first adventurer. I like the fade-in thing. I think this is like a cleanup level task. Clean up / polish. Okay, now we can just drag things into that part of the list. Can we do that or no? No, you can't tab it in. Okay, well, whatever. Let's put this down there too. Why can't I put it? There we go. And then tab these both in. All right, so clear a spot on the map for your first shop. I think I'm going to skip ahead to this one. Hire adventurers from the guild. Yeah. Hey, hang on one second. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Just need to close a door in the house because I'm hearing audio or another room. So hire adventurers from the guild. Until then, just grant you an adventure when you build the guild. Okay, I got to think of how this is going to work. Hiring adventurers. So there's now a help wanted board. Originally, I just wanted to give you a couple of options for your next adventure. And your first choice should be mage versus rogue. You just pick, it doesn't matter which one you pick really. They're both damage dealing classes. And I say originally here because if it's a help wanted board, why wouldn't you just be able to say help wanted rogue at any given point? Like it's just a sheet of paper, right? This is where the actual graphic we use kind of informs the decision we want to make here. If it is just going to be a signpost, as opposed to an NPC. If there's an NPC, then you could sort of assume that, okay, maybe they have contacts or something like that. And maybe that's what we need to change this to. Maybe it's more than just a help wanted sign. Maybe you are, building a tiny building and there's an NPC on the inside and that NPC is helping you find your first adventurers. It wouldn't really make sense how the adventurers get to your town just based on a help wanted board existing. It also wouldn't make sense why you couldn't just hire any class from the get-go. What if we had a basic form of the guild with an NPC? What do we really need? All we really need is a help wanted sign at first. I just can't answer lore-wise how that would make sense. That, you put a sign down in the middle of the forest and someone shows up and is like, hey, I got your call. And we could make anything for this. We could have it be like you know, train a crow to talk, and the crow flies to a nearby town and gets the adventurers. But what's going to be the most obvious, like the easiest way to make sense of this for a new player? Because the way I wrote all this out, where did I write all this out? Where did the to-do list go? Oh, there it is. Yeah. The way I wrote all this out was here. You have a sign that says Skeleton, lock the camera, start with a storeroom, which is just a table. Yeah, that I got to do. You build the guild to hire your first adventurer. Honestly, all you need is an adventurer. All we need to do is give you the ability to choose an adventurer. Maybe it's a new branch of a bigger guild, or it's an old town that's been forgotten and it's easy for adventurers to pass through instead of stop. The new branch of a bigger guild is an idea I had originally where it was like, hey, you need to build a guild, but you can't afford the cost. So there's like a franchise that opens up in your town. But as far as it's an old town that's been forgotten, I think since you're going to be building it up, there won't be any buildings there to begin with. And I want the player to build so that they get used to what building is like. So yeah, all we need to do is give you the ability to choose an adventurer, not necessarily make the guild at first. And yeah, the easiest way to do this would just be to place a help wanted sign. But then that doesn't make a lot of sense. Lifebeard, thanks for the resub. Thanks for the 6 resubs. Subscribe for 6 months in advance. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you there. I appreciate it. Appreciate the vote of confidence as well that you're going to still enjoy the stream for the next 6 months. So yeah, what if you did build the guild at first though? Then an NPC probably makes the most sense. But then you're only we probably need to go this route. Yeah. You just build the guild. I don't know what the guild looks like. I don't even know where our graphics went. Skeleseller, game, assets, world. Yeah, let's open this up. Is it going to open? What just happened? Oh, there it goes. So these are more like shop stalls, which I don't think you would expect for a guild. Then we have the buildings over here, but we need some kind of cutaway view where the NPC is just standing outside of it. What if, okay, I had an idea here. What if the rogue and mage show up at the guild and you can click any of the NPCs and it'll ask you to choose which one you want to hire? What if lore-wise a town is near some common adventuring location, so it naturally has some people walking through? Yeah, and that's kind of what Axbill was talking about too, I think. Yeah, what if people just walked through the town? This kind of plays into the whole what if adventurers were customers? What if they're customers until you just hire them? That's kind of an interesting idea, actually. Then you're not managing them. I'll write that down as an idea. I don't know where to even put this, probably here. What if adventurers are customers until you hire them? Then it maybe kind of sort of makes sense that you're equipping them. I already don't like the idea now that I wrote it down. So yeah, what if people just walk through the town? So they would need to show up to your guild, I guess, and then maybe like stand in line. I guess they'd just be, maybe they could go in and out. Yeah, yeah. Maybe they hang out at your guild so that you can see the next 2 to 3 adventurers you can choose from. That's kind of a cool idea. Like you build some tiny structure, And then over the bridge, a couple of people walk over and they're like, "Oh, new guild. Do you want to hire one of us?" The problem is, okay, like I said, originally it was supposed to be, choice number one was always going to be mage versus rogue. Choice number two was just going to be something else. Yeah, warrior versus cleric, sure, whatever. Choice number three might be some totally different thing. You might not get the mage as a choice again for a while if you don't pick it originally. But if they're just hanging out at your guild, then it probably looks more like this, that, okay, now you didn't pick the mage, so you get them in the second choice. Now you didn't pick the mage or the cleric, so you get them in the third choice, and so on and so forth, so it just keeps expanding. And in that case, if we're going to do that, then just having a help wanted sign is actually probably fine. And then when you post the sign, they can start to walk through your town. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do things this way. But I guess adding one more choice every time is not that bad, right? Because at that point you would already considered the old choice. Okay, you know what? I think I like this way. I'm leaning this way. So then we could go the help wanted sign, right? It just doesn't make sense why you wouldn't be able to hire the paladin right off the bat. You'd have to just say that you could, but they're too expensive. But then you'd be able to see all the choices from the beginning. So I still think you'd have a guild contact who's like, hey, I've got some adventurers who might be willing to join you. Yeah, I think it's got to be a guild NPC. Guild NPC has to lead you through this. Maybe as kind of a cheeky thing we can do eventually, if we end up giving you a guild NPC, maybe your character can be confused and ask, where did you come from when you build the guild? Because otherwise it's not very clear. Is that like a hanging lampshades thing? Is that the trope? Lampshade hanging. Writer's trick of dealing with any element that seems too dubious to take at face value. Yeah. So like you just get an NPC just pops out of nowhere and you say, where'd you come from? And the character ignores you and you never have an answer to that question. It's perfect. Okay, so yeah. So I think the steps are going to be this. You build a guild, you get an NPC, you talk to the NPC to hire an adventurer. And yeah, there can be some dialogue about this. And then you just get your adventurer. No, you know what? No. You get an NPC, you talk to the NPC to hire an adventurer, and then they ask for money. And then they give you choices of which adventurers you can hire. Yeah. All right. I like it. Let's go with that. Let's write this directly into here. Build a guild to hire your first adventurer. Hire guild master. Yep. I like this. So then the guild master requires money to hire an adventurer. And after giving them the money, they tell you which adventurers you can hire from a pool. And then this pool can keep growing. E.g., your first choice is rogue versus mage. So if you pick rogue, then you'll see mage for every subsequent choice, in addition to 2 more options. Yeah, I think that's clear. All right, so then we can't use a signboard. So we need something that is not a signboard. Let's go look at the other graphics we have here. The NPC needs to be visible. Yeah, we have all these these structures, and the structures would make sense, but I guess maybe we just have the guildmaster be outside of the structure. This is something I never really figured out how we're going to do buildings in the game. And with the shops, it doesn't really matter. I like the shops. I think those are fine. It's like, okay, there's a character. It's out there outside. That kind of makes sense. It's okay. But yeah, when you have proper buildings, you know, there's no concept of your character walking into them. So a lot of RPGs will do like a cutaway view or something. We would need to cut out the ceiling always, at which point it doesn't exactly look like a building. Darkstorm kind of mocked something up for this. Let me see if I can find this really fast. Yeah, Darkstorm mocked this up, where this could be your storeroom. It's like just a bunch of walls. And I think this works. But if every one of your buildings looks like this, then it might not be clear. It might not look cool. I don't know. Is hiring adventurers an event? Like the building has an exclamation mark, a cutscene plays, or an NPC walks up to the place, quests a hiring note in their class specific gear. Select one of them, then the other gets red when refused and storms away. It's sort of like an event. I wouldn't really think of it as a cutscene. It was more like right now you click hire adventurer and you just get the next one in the list. So you'll always get the mage and you'll always get the warrior, then you'll always get the cleric. And I was thinking of just moving this sort of button onto an NPC in the world. And then yes, they'd give you a dialogue or something. I don't think it's important that you're okay, so let me give it a little bit more detail here. Adventurers, right now we have 4 types in the game. You can't have dupes. So you can't have 2 of the warrior or something like that. Eventually, I want like 10 to 15 of them. And maybe you can get up to 12 total. So I can't have you refuse an option and then never get them again. You'd have to show up because there's just not a large enough pool. If I had like 100, then yeah, sure, you could turn them away for good. And then you just have to play a new game to find the other ones. But yeah, I'm okay with the choices that you forewent to come back. Also, hi, Sasfog. So I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think the part I'm not clear about is, yeah, what are we going to do for a building? And maybe for now we just throw a building in the game and we put the NPC outside of it, and that's that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We'd probably need a sign that indicates... I guess we could say it's the pub where you're actually building. Or we could just make a custom sign that has the word guild on it. It'd have to be 2 tiles wide though, because it's 5 letters. Yeah. Alternatively, we just write the sign, or we write the text in a label and not in the sprite. But okay, let's take one of these things. Let's go try this out. So we have the guild, and right now is a signboard, but it's going to be the actual building. So let's go find the building. How do I don't have a building. I guess I have this one. I guess we can just use this one. Yeah, whatever, fine. Actually, let's take the tinier version of that. Can we? Wait, how did this look over here? The door is all 1 tile, right? Yeah, this is 16. But then the roof is right on top of it. It doesn't look like that's possible with this graphic. Oh, because the roof looks like the top of the door, maybe? Okay, let's just paste it in the world and see what happens. Paste and paste. Yeah, that'll work. Sure, whatever. Then put this here. Okay, now the only problem is that the ground doesn't encompass the building. So we gotta add some more of that. It's not such a big event and the idea doesn't work in the context. Though even if they're refused and sent away, it doesn't necessarily mean the archetype cannot return. Yeah, I guess from a functional perspective though, it's like, what if you got 2 really appealing options? Like you got cleric versus, I don't know, whatever, priest. They're both healers and you're like, oh, I want them both. So you probably wouldn't want the, anyway, it doesn't matter too much, I guess. Yeah, you just get the choice again at some point. All right, so let's expand this a little bit. What do we need to do? Make it wider and probably 1 tile taller. So let's do 2 more tiles here. What is the picker P? Okay. 2 more tiles there, and then 1 more tile up. There. All right. How's that look? Yeah, now we just need to move this over. What am I doing? I want to clear this. Oh, nice. Okay, good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, Pressel. Okay, so that's already in the game. So if we run this now, it'll just build a building instead of building a sign. Yeah, and now it should be 1 tile lower, I guess. Where do I do that? Instance dot position. Yeah, get size divided by 2. Is that even positioned at a tile offset in the world? It is, but that's just coincidental because I happen to make this an even number. But I still want to bump it down by 1 tile or maybe even 2. Yeah, let's just increase it a little bit. Dot position equals new vector 2 instance dot position dot x and instance dot position dot y plus 2 times game constants dot tile size. Yeah. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling okay. Yesterday wasn't the best day, and I'm just not sure I have it in me to stream all day. So I might not stream in the afternoon. But I'm feeling okay right now, at least. It's tile size and pixels. All right, so that's going to bump that down. Now we need an NPC to show up, which means I guess we need to add a little bit more dirt on the bottom or stone. Yeah. Let's do that. Which means we only want to bump this by one tile. Oh, and then this is going to be broken. Yeah. Don't burn yourself out. I was working hard yesterday. What's up? I think it's just been a lot of working like a medium amount, even on weekends and evenings. So yesterday, actually, it's not like it was too much work. I didn't even move the stuff forward that I wanted to move forward. But I'm trying to cut myself some slack. Normally, I'd be like, oh, that sucked. I need to work extra. And it's like, no, I probably need to take less time doing work. We just did the thing I said I didn't want to do here, which is make this be a half tile size now. What we could do is we could just draw in an invisible tile beneath here so that it's an even number. But I think what makes more sense in this case is just handle this in the sizing here. So we'll say width in pixels equals instance get size dot x divided by game dot tile or game constant tile size in pixels. This should be the floor of this. Then we need to set that this is an int. Okay. Then height in pixels, same thing. And then the position of this is going to be position minus new vector 2 width times tile size and height times tile size. Yeah, cool. And I wanted to add 1 to this. Okay, let's go try that out. Better mindset after a work session is that you want to do more rather than not doing it at all. Yeah, and I think this is what happens sometimes is there's a lot of work to do. And instead of being like, I'm going to tackle 20% of this, I'm like, how about I tackle 0%? And I have felt a little bit overwhelmed lately. I started a lot of threads and I never finished all of them. Did I turn that off? I did turn it off. Okay. And I guess this is supposed to be... What did happen here? It's supposed to be centered on the signpost. Delete this 1+ thing. Thought about a mini vacation. Well, I'm taking a non-mini vacation starting next Thursday. So I guess 8 days from now. So I think that'll kind of naturally reset things. And then my sort of life situation will change a little bit after that. How am I messing this up? The y size of this divided by that. Oh, I have a minus sign there. Oh, I didn't see that. Is this a command already? No, I don't think so. I'll probably make a new vacation command though, now that you mention it. And I think the vacation command currently just talks about the last vacation I took. Yeah. I'll make one now. Ecom vacation, Adam, be on vacation from August 2024 calendar. 15th to, I don't even know when I start streaming again. I actually probably already have this, now that I think about it, on my stream schedule. Yeah, vacation. 18th or 15th to the 27th. He hasn't shared what he's doing or where he's going yet. I'll probably share afterward. There won't be any streams during this time. Yeah. Hey, Kesha. Let's make Guild Wars. I was watching someone play Guild Wars 2, and the game just looked like there were a million circles on the ground. And that was it. Like every ability put a circle on the ground. I was like, what is going on? Oh, this one's negative, and then the other one's positive. Okay, fine. Is the Y position correct? It isn't. Man, none of what I did here is correct. This should also have been divided by 2, and then a 1 plus. All right, that was sloppy, but I think we got there. And all of this is just for positioning. This isn't even the important part. Yeah, cool. Now we'll just subtract a couple, and we should be fine. There. All right, next up, hiring an adventurer. I'm not even going to test that. We'll eventually get there. Build the guild. So we need to get an NPC. Will it be a secret until? Like I said, I haven't shared what I'm doing. So yeah, I should probably rephrase it to I won't be sharing what I'm doing. Won't be sharing what he's doing or where he's going yet. Probably share afterward. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fine. I realize I wrote hasn't and not won't be. I don't tend to like sharing ahead of time. Only because I don't think it's important, and I feel like there's possibly some fallout that could happen from that, although I'm not totally sure what. I'm not like the level of streamer where there's 10,000 people watching, and if, I step outside of my place, people will know about it. I'm not too concerned about that, but yeah, I just don't know what good there could be by sharing it ahead of time. All right, so after giving them the money, I tell you, so we need an NPC. We have shop NPCs. They're shop keeps. And I guess they're just NPCs with a clickable area. Okay, so we'll also make an NPC with a clickable area. Actually, you know what we could do? Well, this does have a script. Drat. And this is all for quest specific stuff. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. We could just make a generic NPC scene and then connect everything to that. I guess the guild master is for 2 different things. They're for hiring and they're for leveling up. And I think when you click them, we'll just spawn a UI in the world somewhere. Sort of like how the guild sign had worked. And I think that should be fine. Actually, now that I think about it, why did the sign move? Yeah, this is what I wanted to have happen here. And in this case, there doesn't need to be an X at the top because you just have to build a guild. But once you've built the guild, oh, if I still messed this up. Minus is higher up on the screen, right? Yeah. Oh, whoops. That was supposed to be in parentheses, that's why. I only bumped it up by 1 pixel. This should now bump it up by another 15, which probably still won't be enough. We should probably just have a position in the world where this goes. It just makes it visible at first. But I'm not going to change too much else about that. So should I repurpose this one? We could just make a generic NPC and then attach a script at runtime. Alternatively, just add certain components at runtime and the components know what to do with this. This has input, but the input is only to know when it's clicked. And then everything else goes, yeah, somewhere else. So what if we deleted these things? The quest indicator, is the quest indicator its own thing too? It's just a label with an exclamation mark. Although that label is custom styled and positioned. Okay, I think I want to make this its own scene, these 3 things. Save branches scene, can't save the root node as an instantiated scene. Okay, so we need to save this differently. All right, let's do it. NPC. So this is going to get renamed to NPC. This is going to get a different script altogether. So let's just detach that one for now. Shopkeep is going to use NPC. That's not what I meant to click, NPC. But it's going to also have a new quest indicator. Although possibly every NPC ends up having that. Now make this the root node. Oh, you can't do that. I guess I could just make a node 2D that has the NPC beneath it, but that's kind of weird. Just trying to think about this. How would we get the new quest indicator into the scene if we did this differently? I guess I'm thinking of the shopkeep as an is a relationship. I don't want it to be a has an NPC. Let me write this down, at least in text. So NPC has a collider and knows how to respond to clicks. Yeah, the dialogue would be different for these. Hey, Trackley. Good morning. Shopkeep. What else is special about a shopkeep? They have a shopkeep component, which actually shouldn't matter. Yeah. Dialogue. Dialogue box gets added at runtime? It must be, because I don't see it in the scene. Create must add it. Yeah, it does. Okay, so shopkeep just has special dialogue for shop stuff. So then the guild master, the guild master, gives out UUIDs. The guild master, yeah, has special dialogue for adventurers. I kind of want to make a custom thing that just gives you all the options. So yeah, what's our root scene here? I'd like to make it an NPC, and it has an area 2D and then a collision shape 2D. And examples of games using AI for dialogue. It's been around a while. Haven't seen a lot of it. There probably is, although that means that your game has an ongoing cost. Because everyone who plays it, I mean, could be incurring some, number of API calls every time they use it, or that you're having your own players plug in their own API token, Should be funny, but then many people just wouldn't play. I think it'll be a thing in the future though. Unless they use their own model. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think the other thing is it would have to meaningfully add something to the game. Because if you just have your NPC go off and say whatever they want, they might be like, yeah, I've got potions, arrows, whatever else for sale. And you might be like, what? No, you don't. So you'd have to give them a prompt to like greet the adventurer in a, medieval fantasy setting kind of way. Don't offer anything that I haven't told you can offer. And then the player would have to somehow interact with them as though they're an AI, I guess. Otherwise, why would they care? They might just think it's one pre-coded dialogue. Hey, Dan, Codex and Easy Light. Yeah, write me a Python script. Change the code of the game. And then a shopkeep would be an NPC and a quest indicator. Although maybe everything has a quest indicator. And the NPC would have its clickable stuff. So this isn't really... Yeah, I guess a shopkeep has an NPC in this case. That's what I find a little weird. Because they really are an NPC, but I don't think there's a way that we could easily do that. Unless we make it so that... No, how would we do that? We take everything that was in, we just duplicate this clickable area. Yeah, I guess that's pretty reasonable. Then inherit from a thing that has... Yeah, I think that has our relationship is fine. All right. So we have an NPC now, and then we have the new quest indicator. We're going to put that there. Just call it new quest indicator. Delete this. Now the problem is we have two of these things. How did this get positioned here? Oh, because the shopkeep itself has the wrong position. And then this is also set to center. There we go. All right, but the shopkeep isn't a sprite at that point. It is a node 2D. So now only one of these exists. I'm not even sure I like this. There's one tiny thing I've done. The reason shopkeeps have such a large collider is because you should be able to click. Well, I've already messed everything up, but you should be able to click kind of anywhere around the shop area. But for the guild, oh, we got to delete those trees too, huh? Oh, wait, no, it's going to be positioned up here. For the guild, we're going to get the NPC, and just clicking the NPC, I think, should be fine. I like the idea of an indicator on them. So I think I'm just going to undo what I did. Yeah, let's just not save that. Oh, I see. I never saved it to begin with. So NPC has all this stuff now, and we just need to pick a different texture. And I'm not even going to worry about that yet. So yeah, let's add them in. Add in an NPC and put you there. Although characters will be able to walk through the NPC, because something I forgot to do is set collision. How does this work for the shop? The shop has a static body 2D on it. Okay, we would also need a static body 2D on the guild. Static body 2D. Oh, and then anytime you add a building, we need to rebake the navigation mesh. Yeah. All right, so static body and then a collision shape. And I kind of want to make this a polygon, but we could just use two different rectangles. Let's turn off the NPC for a second. Make this a rectangle. Put it around. Yeah, let's just make it be a little bit larger than it needs to be. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Yeah, no. All right, so yeah, you could probably clip a little bit with the NPC. Let's put it like there. Yeah. I think that's all right. Right now, NPC does not have a script. And it's going to be very, very similar to shopkeep, I guess. Can I inherit from, let's just try something. Let's attach a script, source, scene script, NPC. So let's just do public override ready and do a gg.print. NPC is in town. And then I want the shopkeep to inherit from that. And if I just start the game, we should see nothing special print out because I didn't call the base function. I'm just making sure this works. I know this is really basic. Yeah, we don't see anything print out. But if I do call the base function, base.ready, it's underscore ready. Yeah. If I call the base function, then this should now print whatever I just wrote. So we should just see three things show up at the bottom here. Do we? No. NPC is in town. Oh yeah, there it is. It's just at the top. Okay, cool. So now I want there to be different logic when you click the NPC. And in this particular case, I guess having a script on this doesn't matter too much. We want a new, instead of shopkeep, I guess let's save this as like guildmaster. It's not a scene script anymore either. You can make food and watch the stream. All right, so this will be guildmaster. And I guess delete pretty much everything. Yeah. Now the NPC has the new quest indicator. That should be something we get in here and not in shopkeep. New quest indicator, that. Yeah. So get rid of this, put it in here, make this protected. Then set it from here. Yeah. And then the clickable area is in the... Did I already mess this up somehow? I did. Oh man. I said the shopkeep was gonna have an NPC, right? And then I undid that for some reason. Oh man. Yeah. I'm just not thinking. What did I want to do for this then? I wanted there to be all the stuff that manages, I guess the tweens for the quest indicator are eventually just going to be an animation player thing. So I don't really need to do this. Although I might need to do something special with the font size, but that could be a script on the quest indicator. Not just being rich. I don't know what he's doing. I think one of the problems with being super, super wealthy or famous is that if you got wealthy by creating something, then all of your other creations are probably going to be judged by standards that you probably don't want to try to live up to every time. And I guess you can always publish things under a pseudonym if you're a game developer or an author. But let's say you're a public speaker, you can't change your appearance such that people don't know that you're you. I guess you could become a VTuber. Tell that to Clark Kent. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I guess if you wear glasses, people won't be able to tell if you're you. But who can afford glasses? Also does handle clicks and handle the quest indicator. I just feel like the quest indicator should probably be its own should probably be its own scene at this point. Wait a second, Adam's wearing glasses. Never even seen Superman in the room, let alone him and Adam. dialogue boxes. If we're going to use dialogues for this, which we might not, I'm going to move the quest indicator into its own scene. I'm also going to try to get rid of what I'm doing here with this. I think this is silly what I was doing. So NPC won't exist. We'll just save this directly as guild master and give it the guild master script and call it guild master. Attach script guild master. Where is it? There. I think Batman is Superman too by that logic. I think all the superheroes are the same except for the ones that were in the Justice League. So clickable area on the Guildmaster, new quest indicator. This I want to make into its own scene. We go delete NPC completely. Delete you. And probably delete this. Yeah, I guess we had some stuff in Shopkeep that I'm just going to leave there. And then this inherits from Sprite 2D again. And we delete this thing. All right, there we go. Now let's make the new quest indicator into its own scene. I just saved that. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to be so protracted. Oh. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do an afternoon stream today. All right, what was next here? Yeah, making this into its own scene. Let's go get that. Shopkeep. Save as scene. New quest indicator. Actually, it's not even new quest indicator. It's like action indicator or something like that. Available action indicator. Yeah. That's right. You could argue anyone is anybody. And then we'll put a script on this. Source scene script. Available action indicator. And that's where all of this stuff's going to go that was in Shopkeep. Guildmaster is pretty much empty, right? Yeah. And this is going to be Sprite 2D. All right. So set up tweens. Where is that done? That's done from ready. Let's just copy paste all of that. Okay. And then delete this and delete this. And put it all over to here. Cool. Now, new quest indicator doesn't exist. It's no longer a label. It is a new or available action indicator. Yeah. That on its own should have been all I needed to do, right? Oh, tween font size. This isn't something that belongs here. Okay. Then everywhere we had this, we need to change it. Cool. I think at 1.3 billion, you still need to work. I think it's 1.4 billion you're thinking of. That's when you don't need to work any longer. I think these 1.3 billionaires are just like the rest of us. You know, struggling to get by. Man, I do wonder, you know, what life would look like. Imagine if you had $1 billion. And yeah, obviously there's a bunch of stuff you could buy, but what would your relationships be like with people? Because chances are you're not going to live in like a, you know, $1,000 a month apartment, right? So you'd probably live in a place that sort of reflects the level of wealth you have. Maybe it's not a mansion, but it's probably like a really nice house. And even just from that alone, when you have people over, they'd be like, "Whoa, you must have a lot of money." And then yeah, how do you make friends? How do you have relationships? How do you know anyone's actually trying to be your friend and not just They're in it for the 1.3 billion. You don't make friends. You just rage at people on Twitter. You buy them. One friend, please. I go down to the friend store. I'm looking for someone who's funny and good at video games. That will be $600,000. Okay, so I guess I guess that's fine. This has a new quest indicator, and then the guild master needs the same thing. Yeah, its clickable area is probably gonna be a lot smaller. Yeah, something like that. Not too good at video games. Actually, what if like really, really good at video games, the best in the world, but knows how to tailor their skill level to whatever makes me the happiest. So if I want to train harder, they can just scale to that level. And if I just want some easy wins or some challenging wins, they can make it look like they were gonna lose. Or they lose, but they make it look like that they were trying their hardest. I'd be a good friend if a person paid me enough. That'd probably be really hard though. You're essentially a hired actor, but your livelihood depends on this person being happy. So like if you were actually a friend of someone, sometimes you probably have to deliver hard news. Would you do that if the person were paying you? Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think if I don't know how many people want to be famous. I think many people probably want to be rich, but I don't know how many people want to be famous. And I just can't imagine fame does good things for you. Like there's diminishing returns, let me put it that way. And then there's actively negative returns probably on the extremely famous side. The government hired you all. I would strongly question what is the government's motive in keeping people in a game development stream for years. All right, so did we create a guild master? We should probably make them look a little bit different from the other ones. Let's just pick a different region, I guess. This, what is this? Is this a temporary? It is. Oh, we don't need this. Huh, I never even thought about that. I guess we can just get rid of it. Get rid of the temporary shopkeeper since we can just use an atlas texture. Hey, Tony Slark. Probably get fired, so I may not be showing up to the stream. Well, once you've been fired, violate your NDA and let me know what the government hired you for. First day here, CIA handler didn't give me very good instructions. Yeah. Yo, you're definitely in the right spot. Now that I know I'm being watched, now that I know I'm on the Truman Show. Welcome in, Tony Slark and Cheetah. I will. I mean, what's the point of an NDA? Yeah. If you can't say the word cucumber and activate like 6 government agents in your general vicinity, then are you even living a life? I feel like you're not. So we're going to change this into a proper atlas texture. At least this one. And then we need to go find the characters. So what are they called? I don't even know. The characters. Sure, just pick one of these. It doesn't matter. Who cares if they look exactly like one of the townspeople? Actually, did we randomize it completely? What happens when you get a customer? Set up sprite. Valid indices. Insides. That's a typo. Yeah, man. Excuse me. All right, so 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. We picked these from here. This, and this. So this is 1 to 8. 0, 1, 4. Oh, we don't use these anymore. Oh, interesting. So we can use 3 again. 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we can use 3 now. Because we have a custom graphic. Nice. So yeah, let's use 3. 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. This can be a customer as well. All right, that's a little bit of a mistake, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, we need the standing frame of this one. Where are you? You are at 160, 0. So let's do that. Region is 160, and then it's 16 by 20. Yeah, you're our guild master now. Hey, Susie on YouTube. Guess going back to being famous and getting relationships goes down to you can only be friends with famous people. Yeah, or people you were already friends with ahead of time. And even then, you probably have to wonder. I know you hear about these stories. I've never met anyone in real life who's won like a mega lottery, but you hear these stories of people who win like $100 million, and then all of a sudden, everyone in their family is like, "Hey, remember this thing I did for you 6 years ago? Now you owe me a new car, or whatever, it's $10,000 or something." And it's like, I guess that really shows people's true colors. I guess the story you hear this about that actually does happen to people is when someone in the family dies and leaves an inheritance. And it doesn't even need to be a big inheritance, but that usually leads to the family squabbling about something. And yeah, I think that goes to show you that if you got any level of fame or wealth, that people certainly could treat you differently. I don't know how I'm going to do the dialogue for this. I got to plan this a little bit. How do we want to do the dialogue? So we have two main options here, which is leveling up adventurers and hiring new ones. Maybe set this to plain text. Maybe the guild master only handles leveling. Maybe there's a target dummy or something for leveling them up. I like the idea of not having to navigate too many menus here. But even hiring, I think we just show a party section with the available adventurers and make custom tooltips for their descriptions. So it'd say something like this. It'd be like, I have these adventurers available for hire. And then it shows, the characters, rogue, mage, whatever, cleric. And then there's a button at the bottom that says hire. Yeah, choose one. Yeah. What am I doing right now? I always try to keep the today command in this stream up to date. I've got a whole bunch of commands. And in this case, I'll just share it. You don't necessarily need to read it. I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. And it's a game where what's that? There's an alert in the background. What is that? Couldn't save scene. Dependencies couldn't be satisfied. Oh, I think this relied on the NPC scene, which I deleted, but then I removed the connection. Anyway, you run a town in this game, and you hire adventurers, and they do battle, and when they win the battles, they'll put items in your town. And when you have items in your town, then your character, this little skeleton, will just automatically walk over and go stock up your shops. So it's a very laid back game. You're not directly controlling a million things. And the problem that we have, so like this is what the game is eventually supposed to look like. It's not supposed to look like this when you start up minute number 1. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to start you like this, maybe, where you're looking at a very sort of static part of town. It's pretty empty. You can't even move the camera, maybe. And you'll click this first sign and build your guild. And there's your guild building. And now you'll get an NPC. I don't know why the NPC isn't there. Why isn't the NPC there? Oh, this is the, oops. Yeah, whoops. Let's go add the guild master. That's why I was complaining. I thought it was about the other scene. So delete this and put you over there. Far enough in front where it doesn't look like you're clipping into the building. That's pretty good. And then maybe also, what were all those debugger issues? The NPC not existing? Cannot open file NPC. Yeah, I'm assuming those are just going to go away. And then we set this to -3. Maybe we just wanted to... No, it should have already been centered. Where's the sign in terms of the town? Right there. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, Josepher. Hmm. Okay, I like this idea. I don't know how you would level up your adventurers, but I think we should just worry about hiring them for now. And that way we can keep the dialogue to something pretty easy to make. So we have the build guild dialogue. Let's go make a new scene. And we'll save this one as hire adventurer dialogue. Yeah. Yeah. Either way, there's going to need to exist at some point. Now we need all the stuff we have over here. VBox container, panel container, margin container, VBox container. Yeah. So VBox, actually, let's just do it like this. VBox container. That way I don't need to rename it as well. Done. Then panel container. I didn't mean to press that button. Whoops. Then margin container. Then another VBox container. Then a label. The label is going to say whatever I have here. I have these adventures for hire. Choose one. Margin container can have the same theme overrides we use pretty much everywhere else. Should have just made a theme for that. Travel between kingdoms and have to prepare with supplies and whatnot. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Yeah. I could see that being interesting. I think you should do it. Now we're going to instantiate a party section in here. And then we're going to make a button at the bottom. And the button is going to say hire. Oh, there's got to be, ooh, no, this is technically, there's like a pay guild master dialogue first. Don't have time, still working on your FF2 fan game. Oh man, I wish fan games were like more easily licensable or something. I just still feel bad for everyone who works on some really crazy feat. I just saw there's someone is making Super Mario 64 on Game Boy Advance, and they've done a pretty good job so far. But it's like that project can just never see the light of day. They'd have to change all of the graphics at this point, and I guess sound effects if they're using those too. And it's too bad Nintendo isn't like, hey, here's a fan game section, and just know that it's not going to be the level of quality you expect from our games. What are those? What are what? Fan games? Is that what you're talking about? Like, just to be clear here, I don't know if you are talking about this, but if anyone doesn't know, a fan game is just, let's say I don't control Zelda, right? But I say I'm going to make a Zelda game. Yeah. So that's me, a fan, making a game whose intellectual property I do not own. And people do this all the time. They do it a lot with Pokemon. They do it a lot with Final Fantasy. And same thing happens in writing. Like people write Harry Potter fan fiction. That's the writing equivalent of a fan game. And like I said, the problem is you don't own any of the intellectual property. So companies have and will shut these games down. And Nintendo especially. Nintendo is like actually Nintendo even kind of used some of the ideas in the past. Although who knows, maybe they came up with them independently. But Mario 35 directly came from a fan game, as far as I know. All right, so hire adventure dialogue. We need to eventually add in the like pay this person for the NPC. Maybe when you hire them at first, they don't even do that. When hiring future adventurers, not your very first choice, make sure the NPC asks for money first and then automatically spawns the choose adventurer dialogue. And then there's one other thing I wanted to write here, which was show the quest indicator on the NPC. Actually, should you have to do that at the beginning of the game to indicate that you can click them for an action? Yeah. you compile the original, see the assembly. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, it's like some fan games are incredibly lazy, but the ones that people spend a lot of time on, they're very impressive feats. And that's why to me it's like, and I get that you're doing this, Joseph. I'm not saying don't do it. I do understand it to some extent, but it's like, why put, a year or 2 years or 3 years into an endeavor that can never get released? And sometimes, well, I guess I've said enough about this. Yeah. Doing it for learning. Yeah. Learning is a great reason. And that's probably why most people start. And then at some point they realize like, wow, this is fun. I'm making some good progress and people want to play it. And then they find that they're trapped. And every once in a while you can do like an asset swap and try to change the game. All right, we're going to attach a script to this. I know I'm making really, really slow progress. I'm fine with that. I already consider today to have kind of been a wash, and it's okay. Cecil is now Diesel. Cloud Stripe is now Cumulonimbus Stripe. All right, so we're going to get the party section. Something, actually, a couple other things have party sections. End battle screen does. Yeah. So yeah, adventure section, that's fine. Public override ready. I wonder if I can change the snippet for that because it's been annoying. So get the, what are these called? Adventurers, yeah. Let's make this be unique. Good. That way we can just put a % sign here and not worry about any of this other garbage. Mario is actually wearing green, and his name is, get this, Luigi. Sometimes Nintendo copies themselves. All right, now party sections have a whole bunch of things you can configure about them. Show highlight on hover. I guess we want to do that. That's set to true by default, though. There's something else. Center party members. Sure. What's that set to by default? I guess false. Right? Yeah, false. Well, we'll figure this out. Let's delete this for right now, too. So we get this. Look at Wario. It doesn't, like, wa as a prefix mean something in Japanese. Wasn't it supposed to be like evil Mario? Or something like that. And that's why there's Waluigi as well. Yeah, okay. Now we need to populate this. End battle screen. How do we populate it? Here it is, clear, and then add party member. And set labels. I don't know what we want for that either yet. Just going to do this one step at a time. This is adventurers section. This, oh, they actually need to be adventurers? Add party member? Oh. I guess we could create one. Yeah, I guess we could create one. Create adventure. Oh, they need to get the storeroom in the town. Oh, man. That's stupid. That's stupid. Yeah, this is too bad. We need a party section that lets you just pass in adventurer classes, not adventurers. And I don't know if I want to make this gigantic change. Let me see what this is doing. Loads a party member, adds it. On-clicked invokes it with an adventurer. Can I check Discord DMs? Yeah, sure. Oh, no, everything's fine. I have the mental energy for mentoring. And I appreciate you asking. I don't think I can do justice to my own code right now, but I think that's a different story. And also, I'm not like so burned out that I think, oh, I need to take a week off. I'm coincidentally taking a week off because I already had a vacation plan since like 6 or 8 months ago. Yeah, I think it should be fine. So onclicked is invoked with adventurers. And who listens to this? We just happen to use adventurers everywhere. I'm trying to figure out why I did this. All right, so party section in the guildmaster dialogue. Why did I ever use adventurers and not adventurer class? I guess I need their life values. Yeah, that at the very least is true. Party section as a party member. Party member has a life bar. Yeah, update life bar, yeah. Oh boy. Oh, and their battle state. I need their battle state and their life values. I don't think there was anything else. Interesting. What is this? What is this? Where's this at the default? Character selector does reflect battle state. Oh, the skill tree. Interesting. We could have a does reflect life bar. There wouldn't be a life bar though. You know what? Now that I think about this, maybe using party section doesn't make sense. It really is just an HBox container of party members. And the thing I care about is the label and the picture. Hey, Matt. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, I care about the label and the picture. Do I care about anything else here? I guess an on-click function. Oh, and then the selection rectangle and everything. Oh, darn it. I guess I care about a lot of this. All right, well, could we not have an adventurer be here? Initialize with an adventurer. Set it here. Where's that coming from? Oh, there it is. And what do we use this for? On battle state change. We could just make this nullable. Health component. Yeah, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't need this exactly. Battle state. Yeah, we wouldn't need that. On clicked would take in an adventurer class. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. I I think I know what we're gonna do, but let me just check one more time here and click this button. Is there anywhere else that we use this? Just those two places. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I need to make a party member class that doesn't need an adventurer. And this is not nullable right now. And to make it nullable would break our on-click. But what if we pass in the class for this? What listens to this? Adventure class, select with adventure class. Okay, that doesn't matter. And what about the other one? Oh, wait, it always passes in the adventure class? No, it takes an adventurer. But all I care about is the class. Okay, we could change it. All right, Oppressor, I hope you have a good meal. Can I just make them party members with a special flag? I could. I just don't know if that's the best way, and I don't want to keep incurring more tech debt. So party member is really what needs to change. I don't care to... Ooh, actually, do I? What does party section keep track of who's selected? You can only have one selected. What manages this? Is selected. Something must set this to, oh, the character selector. Oh, this is the only place. Oh, I see. Okay, so the character selector handles the selection value for all of these. That could still be done in the new dialogue we have. Let me think. Party members would need to change. I want to make the adventurer optional. Could we just do that? If I just make this a question mark here? But then the adventurer class would need to get stored instead. Maybe we have one version that has an adventurer and one that has an adventurer class. But what's the point? Oh, because you need to update the life value and the battle state. Yeah. Okay. A hierarchy is starting to emerge here. So let's just save this thing as party member. I didn't mean to press enter. Party member. Like, I'm just going to say by class. Whatever. It's not going to make any sense. Who cares? There we go. So you are going to have an adventurer class, which is what this thing's going to be. Yeah. And then the question becomes, we need there to be the same scene hierarchy for both of these. I guess this wouldn't even need a life bar, right? Yeah, what would be the point of rendering a life bar if there is no way that this character could have taken damage? I guess just for consistency if we felt like it. Because it's always set the life bar to 100%. Yeah, so this would actually extend from party member. Which I guess is not possible. I'm trying to think of how this would work. Yeah, you can't extend an entire scene. I think I would just change the script on the scene dynamically, but it would have to inherit from something. I should really test this out. Yeah. We only have about 20 minutes, and I don't think there's any way I can get this done in that time, but we could make some progress toward it. So I'll make a new scene. Actually, let's just save the original one. Let's save party member as party member base. It's kind of weird. Even if I don't use it, it doesn't hurt to save it that way. I can just delete it. All right, so now this inherits from party member. Party member looks good. Yep, we have all these things. So I need to make a lot of these things protected and not private. And the party member by class is what's going to have the adventurer class pulled in a different way. Use the new keyword of hiding as intended. Hide base member. The root, yeah, I guess this is good. All right, so I think any of this other stuff is not going to be there. We just delete it all. And then we need to customize some of the things in here. So none of this would exist. Yeah, we don't care about that. Init would take place with an adventurer class. There we go. This equals this. Clean up listeners. I guess we just called base.init. Yep. And then delete. Do I don't know, a bunch of this stuff for right now. We have so much that needs to be done. I just deleted the one line of code I actually wrote that needed to be there. Yeah. All right. Now delete all that other stuff. Yeah, great. All right, now party member. So there's this, and then there's also party member base. Well, that's only a scene. Okay, I think we want to make a party member base class, and that's where pretty much all this stuff is going to exist. Why is all this red? Oh, this is, we'll just call this base. And then we'll make this be base as well. And then the init for this is going to take in something different. This is going to be public void init with, I guess, nothing. Yeah, and that's where we put all of this stuff. Hey, Chess. Nothing much. How are you doing? Got the today command if you're curious what's happening. Got laid off. Sorry to hear that. If you don't mind sharing, what company were you working for? I'm guessing it's tech. Senior.net dev. Oh, like you were working on .net? Like Microsoft? Oh, small healthcare company. I see. Yeah, I guess this is happening everywhere. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you find a new job. I hope this isn't like an offensive or spicy take, but I've of all the people I've seen who got laid off, they almost always end up landing on their feet and something is better about their situation afterward. And maybe it's a mindset thing that makes them say that something's better, but I think in general it hurts to hear. It feels bad. It feels like, oh, what happened to company loyalty or something, or did it ever exist? And I think then eventually you end up finding a new gig or a new, yeah, something. This is my third layoff. Am I a bad programmer? Um, okay, wait. Before we continue this conversation, I do have like two rules in chat, and one of them is don't segment messages. So please do try to focus on that. Um, I mean, you could be. I certainly don't know from the 6 lines of chat you typed. Layoffs are usually performance based. Like you typically don't want to lay off the best performers in your company. It could be bad luck. It could be anything. It could be a combination of the two. Maybe it was like you were a bad performer 3 years ago and now you're not, and you just got unlucky. But yeah. I mean, how do you feel? Do you get feedback on your coding or on your job performance? Was the layoff a total surprise? Was there could be a lot of indicators here that might help you figure out the answer to that question. Okay, so this one is going to go into the other party member class. So we have 3 things we need to manage here. I'm going to delete everything else that we have out of this. Yeah. Okay, so this one is also not going to have all of this code here. We need to set the adventurer in our init, which we do, and then we just call the base init. And then probably need to manage some of this stuff too. I'm not totally sure yet. Panel container. Oh, this doesn't inherit from the right thing. Party member base. So there is no adventurer here. We can't do that. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, this one has to exist. The party member base wouldn't have this. Yeah, because there is no adventurer, which means cleanup listeners would only be on party member. And we call this from dispose. I think that's fine. Do not prefix calls with base unless local implementation exists. This is the local implementation though. I can't just call, oh, it's a different overload, so it's not going to collide. Oh man. All right. Still a lot to come up with here. Adventurer class. So this is a getter that exists, but we don't know what it's going to be yet. So I guess we do it like this, maybe? Private set, not even a set. I don't want a setter. Yeah. There. So cleanup listeners doesn't exist on this. Adventurer, we don't have anything that acts on adventurer. Reflect battle state isn't going to be here either. Init with an adventurer. What's this doing here? Shouldn't be here. Yeah. Shouldn't be here. We don't even know if we'll have a life bar, but you can't have a life bar in this class, I guess. Yeah. I think I'm learning and improving. Had some dip in performance for one feature in the current project. Otherwise, I delivered on time. I think there are. Look, I know the news is raw and everything, but since you asked the part about am I a bad programmer, I think there are a lot of sort of metrics you'd use to consider this, and timely delivery is one of those metrics. I think the other is like ease of working with you as a person slash coworker, the code quality, any like documentation, willingness to, I guess this kind of fits into here, willingness to take on work, new work, maybe just different work. So all of this kind of factors in. And yeah, I guess like, do you, again, you just compare yourself to your colleagues? Do you end up adding more bugs? Do you end up fixing more bugs than other people fix? Do you write high quality code? Are you maintaining what you're doing? Or are you leaning on other people too much? It could be any number of those things. Okay, so in this case, we won't have a health component, which means we don't need to do these things. Adventurer data comes from the adventurer class, which we have. I got rid of it, didn't I? No, there it is. Yeah. Name is adventurer class.toString. Shouldn't there be a display name in here? There is a display name. What is this then? Oh, I see. I don't like that. We're gonna delete that. We're gonna put this here. Yeah. Do you consider personality meshing as part of ease with working? Yeah, I like that general category of stuff. Like, what are people having a problem with you, basically? And it might be justified and it might not be justified. I mean, hard to work with is like, imagine you're in a meeting and someone's yelling at somebody else for a mistake they made. Like, okay, that's pretty universally agreed upon that that's not the right way to do things. But then there could just be like, oh, hey, you're more quiet than the team generally is. Like, that's not a generally agreed upon bad thing. You can be quiet, you can be more reserved, you could be more formal, whatever. Yeah, it could be bad luck. Yeah, it totally could be. Yeah. On click takes in an adventurer in this case. So that's not going to be the case that we have over here. Yeah. So GUI input, this is just that you clicked something. So I guess we would have some thing that gets overridden. Yeah. So we'll have like a protected void on click. You need to know, no, you just need to know this. Yeah. Protected virtual void on click. In fact, this can be a public, can you make an abstract partial class? Yes, you can. Okay, well, then this is an abstract partial class. So on click, this is going to be like derived classes should emit a signal that they care about, I guess. And in our case, so we're going to override this in each of these. This one's on click. Protected override on click is just going to do this, then delete all of that. And the other one is going to do this, which we don't even have a signal for, but we will now. Cool. Class. Okay. It says on click doesn't exist. This should just say on click. There. Ooh, all right. We're slowly making progress. All right, are there any other errors here? Clean up listeners. I guess we don't need to override this. Reflect battle state isn't going to be here. Hide highlight will be. This stuff will be. Update life bar won't be. There is a life bar in this thing. I'm going to just delete that for right now. It kicks. Every time someone uses this command, I just have to show her on stream. She was on my lap the other day. I took a picture. She had like sort of an angry look on her face. Look at this. She wasn't angry. She just looked kind of angry. All three times they said lack of funding. I mean, that was probably true. I don't think they probably made that up or anything. Because you said these are small companies. So they probably don't have to answer to shareholders or anything. Plus, this is in India. Abby has a cool mask. Yeah. Like her little face. All right. I just deleted something that oh yeah, the life bar stuff. So life bar should be hidden over here. I'll just write it as a to-do item. To-do, hide the life bar. Actually, what am I? Who cares? Let's just hide it right now, right? Yeah, protected. There. All right, now this is the last class that needs to change, and there's quite a lot that needs to change here, right? So delete all of these things. This can stay. This should not stay. Hides inherited member. Show highlight on hover. That shouldn't be here. Does reflect battle state should be here though. So that should go away from this. Yeah. Okay, we don't need to do any of these things, I think. Yep. Delete this. This is VS Code? Yeah, this is VS Code. On click. That looks good. Draw we don't need. Set name color we shouldn't need. Dispose we definitely need. This we don't need. This we do need. Hide highlight we don't need. Update life bar we kind of questionable. How does this work? It needs the adventurer. Okay, fine. Yeah, I guess technically update max life could be in the parent. All right, we might have mostly gotten this working. In battle style box. This isn't going to be here. This is going to be over here. And are we missing something else? Default style box. Sure. We'll put this over there too. Then we need to set it in ready. Yeah. Huh. I wonder if I was wrong about the order of how something happens here. I guess we'll find out. So I just want, oh, I didn't need to do that. I just want this. Get theme panel. Wait. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And then call base.ready. I seem to remember you saying you and your family are in a place financially to allow you to leave the corporate world and pursue content creation. Does your partner work? Do you have kids? If too personal, please ignore. My partner does work. I have not shared where, and I don't plan on sharing where or even what. She's wanted me to keep her own details kind of more private. And kids, no, and not planning on having them. And I think this is, I mean, part of the equation here is I think kids represent a variable in terms of you don't know what their hobbies are going to be. You know, maybe they end up being a world-class figure skater and you need to like travel the world to fund that endeavor. Or maybe they have health problems or something. So I think there's a big variable there that we just don't have to account for. I've got to wrap this up pretty soon and switch into mentoring mode. I think we're probably in pretty good shape. This won't do what I want it to do yet, because everywhere that referred to a party member now needs to refer to a... Wait, no, I guess that doesn't need to refer to anything different. Oh, but party section needs to optionally take in this new kind of party member. Ah, man. Yeah, okay, well, we got to change that next then. least common coding language in the industry. I don't know if you should go by what's least common. I know you're saying that for job security, but I think just getting really, really good at what you do for any field makes you have more job security. Expensive money and time, huge investment that lasts forever. I mean, not forever. I think most kids eventually move out, and then you're probably not still giving them money, and the time thing is probably forever. Yeah, for most parents. But I think that was the bigger thing for me is the time investment. I just thought I have a bunch of goals I want to achieve in life. And the time when you want to achieve your goals is also the time usually when people have kids. And I think it'd be hard to split my attention. How'd you learn C sharp? Just by practicing? I think I knew enough similar languages. Like I'd used Java before going to C sharp. Java and C sharp are practically the same language. I mean, if you know pretty much any of the C family, if you know any like object-oriented programming language, you pretty much already know C sharp. It's just not different enough. You know JavaScript, yeah, that's close enough. Like yeah, you'll have to deal with static typing now and um, some other little things, but in general, it's pretty easy for you to pick up. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. How can you be more job secure? Just by getting more skill in your industry, I think, and taking on more responsibility. I think that's generally the way. If you think about it, what makes you stand out from the, you know, thousands of people around you who are applying for jobs? And probably not much. I mean, I don't know how much experience you have. You said 3 layoffs in 3 years. I don't know if that 3 years is your entire career, but there's less to differentiate you 3 years on into kind of any programming career. And as you go, you start maybe specializing more, or you just get a larger breadth of knowledge. So yeah, imagine a task were to come up at work, like a programming task. Would you know how to handle it, or would you need to talk to somebody else? If you know how to handle it, do you know the best way to handle it? Can you design your own software? Do you handle your own prioritization? Do you, I don't know, can you delegate to other people? What level are you essentially? Those are the kinds of things that I think would increase your job security. Okay, so I'm going to have to transition into mentoring soon. Not quite yet, but I also want to take a quick break. So where I left off is going to be party section. Everything needs to use these new party member classes. So party section needs to be able to add by adventurer class or by adventurer. And then we need to show the dialogue that I made for the guild master. Just nothing shows it or adds it as a child yet. I can learn more tools, years of experience. I don't think any learning is gonna be a bad idea, but I think you should probably try to tailor it toward whatever you want your next job to be. So if you want to do web dev, if you want to do like infrastructure work, if you want to do game dev, whatever, pick any industry or category that you like, and then look at job postings and see what is it they're looking for, and then try to steer more toward that. Because for example, like let's say I don't know, I'm just gonna make something up. Like you're a game dev. If you're working on a team of let's say 100 people, you're not going to be doing 10 different roles. You're probably going to be doing one role. Maybe you're doing the back end of the game. Maybe you're doing the front end. Maybe you're doing the game logic. Maybe you're working on the engine. And having all of those skills might be helpful, but it's probably not as helpful as if you were working on a 2-person team where yes, you're going to need to wear tons of different hats because there just aren't the people to do those. So what I'm trying to say here is you could work on, let's say, the front end of a website, and knowing how to scale it on AWS is probably just not important. Like there's probably someone who's got that role and they can handle that on their own and they just don't need your help there. So it's like if you started learning Azure instead of learning more about the front end side of things, it might not be a boon for you in that particular job. It would certainly help you just as a well-rounded developer. So yeah, if you want to be in web dev, then I'd say just keep going deeper into all of the web dev things you're doing. I'm going to take a break. It is 10:40. Mentoring is at 11, so 20 minutes. And the breaks are usually like, I don't know, 4 minutes or something. And we'll have a little bit of time when we get back to do something else a little bit, but then it's going to be mentoring time. So is it jump time? It's jump time. 3D Extended, thanks for resubbing. I scrolled up in chat. I saw that. I appreciate it. Close the game. All right, we got a couple minutes. So I want to just make sure I'm in a slightly better state when I come back. And let's make it so that we're just going to put a dialogue into the town. This is not what I want to do eventually, but it's just an easy way of getting this to work. So we're going to instantiate a hire adventurer dialogue. Where is this? Yep, there it is. Okay, we're just going to kind of leave that as is for now. And try to start the game. Let's see. I mean, almost none of this is going to be working just yet. Yeah. All right, name instance doesn't exist. Instance.adventurers and hire adventurer dialogue. Did I just... Oh yeah, I started to work on this and then stopped. It would really help if I had actually worked on this. So what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to say something like adventurers section.add adventure or add party member, and then be able to specify a class, adventurer class dot rogue and mage, which we can't do yet. So if I try this right now and we don't even clear this, it's probably just going to thoroughly break. Now let's try, see what happens. Okay, nice. There is something that's weird, which is why don't any of the... Oh, I see. There's a problem. Given key none was not present in the dictionary. Get on line 80 coming from here. Party member base dot init. Adventurer class. Did I not override this? I didn't override this. Hides inherited. Use the new keyword. I just did. Did I not do that correctly? No, I think I did. All right, I gotta stop. This is it. Yeah, it's still not working. We gotta fix this error then when we get back. Yeah. Fix the error that shows at launch. All right, no time to keep working on that. Let's go look at mentoring prep. And then 3D extended. All right, switch to setting up mentoring scene. Click studio mode, all this other stuff. Let's make sure I read the notes first. Oh yeah, and I learned my little trick here. I'll just open up 2 of these tabs, and that way I don't need to worry about this. Where did it go? There we are. And same thing over here. All right, so session number 6. We last met July 3rd. Let me take a look at all this stuff. Doing great, a little tired. Last few weeks were better than session 5. Also went to Turkey, really nice. Helped to relieve stress. Cool, cool. Yep, stress levels are normalizing, not overwhelming stress. No longer stressed about the exam. More listed below. Combination of getting back from vacation and being in a role where he knows what's coming up in a week. Yeah, role familiarity. Feels easier to disconnect after work. In the last 20%, so focus on releasing. Gave himself some space and more time. Wasn't going to drop it all together. Coming back from the holiday. Finished it, released it, didn't code anything afterward. Stopped himself. Good. Dropping the dream is hard. Realized how much pressure he put on himself while doing that. Yeah, this is... I'll put a star here. This is really important. Yeah, really, really important. I think an important question is, where are you adding pressure on yourself? And I said to Rami in another mentoring session that I want you to come up with a tenet for yourself that's something along the lines of like, be nicer to yourself, cut yourself some slack. And I've been thinking about that for myself too. Like yesterday, I think normally I would have been really dejected. And instead I was just like, this is a sign that I'm doing too much. Oh boy, this will go deep today. Okay. Yeah. Looking at houses to buy. Peter did just share that he got the house. Yep. Home hired as a run employee. Yeah, and then I want to just write this as a reminder to myself. Reminder to self, Peter is a remote employee. This is not a question I have. I just wanted to write it down. Little time at work, many trips to Berlin. First time at fancy drink bar with dry ice. Yeah, and that's definitely what it is. I think there are a lot of people who are very, very reasonable when it comes to other people, and Raimi is one of those people. He's like, hey, if someone else drops the ball on something or they've got a temporary aberration from their normal work schedule, totally fine. Raimi's like, if it happens with me, not okay. Cannot sustain, must judge. I'm like, whoa, whoa. Past couple of months are mainly spent in Berlin. Schedule is basically over. Done with the trip. I thought there was one more. Maybe not. Okay. Hours are longer. Yeah, when he's in Berlin, it's harder to keep to a regular workday. A summer event, which is with the whole company. Great to see so many colleagues. One whole day, something in the morning, called a business meeting. Lovely the company to be here. Yep. Would not want to move to Berlin. I remember that. Very stressful trip. Remember that. Yeah, there was some other, it was like a barbecue or something that was coming up. I don't think I've come across it yet, but there was a talk about driving up there and not taking the train. Oh, here it is. Yeah. The fact, especially as a manager and leader, easier to connect face to face. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so I wonder if that manager's party happened. Did the manager's party / barbecue happen? 6 hours staying overnight. Yeah. Did your girlfriend enjoy it? Because I know he said that they're traveling together. Work calendar is a mess. Too many 30-minute meetings. Yeah. Have you gotten your work calendar more under control? Yeah, coming further down. Yeah. Very selective of meetings. Oh yeah, time-wise we're fine. Working longer than normal, but not by a lot. Yep, totally fine. Try to do your individual work. Focus time is early in the morning. Otherwise stays on a little bit late. Itchy if the discussions get technical. Yeah. I still think this is a general problem I see among people who get to be high enough level, which is they're like, well, and who manage people or who are in meetings all the time, which is like the meetings are not your work. So you still need time to do your work. And it's tough to find that time. And there's only so much you can delegate. I think a lot of people just expand themselves. They put in 9 or 10 hours. And I think that's only sometimes sustainable. Currently working with direct reports. Manager asked him to transition from product owner to product management after the meeting. Weekly one-on-ones. Oh yeah, how are those going? How are the weekly one-on-ones with your boss, well, manager going? I remember there being, yeah, 12 months. Yeah, I remember there being a lot of time. Another benefit is the manager has good business expertise. Yep. Then backed off by my peers. Okay. Can't go into many details. Person needed clear timelines. I wonder how that person is doing. How is the person doing whom you had misjudged? They just needed clearer timelines, you said? Yeah. Nothing quite like this though. Them saying they feel heard. I think it's always tough when someone is shouting into a void and then finally is like, oh, someone's listening to me. I think the most commonplace this happens for just everyday people is customer service a lot of times. You call someone, you get put through an automated phone line, then finally you get to a human and they're not following a script at some point. You're like, oh, thank goodness. Some reports need to be in another position than they're currently in. News going in. Restructuring hasn't happened yet. One report who needs more structure. Yeah, the older coworker, I think, or coworker had been there for a long time. Currently not doing anything major. Forcing myself not to. Pretty good. Cool. 300 euros gone. Pretty cool. How do you feel about where the app has landed? Yeah, it's on hold for now though. Good. Just having friends walk through the app. Yep. 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 All right. 101 essays that'll change the way you think. Okay, so I've got my questions. I'm going to switch now into the actual transition stuff that we have here. So let me click some buttons. Studio mode, go over to mentoring. Okay, open this up. Yeah, so for those who haven't seen the mentoring sessions, this is something I do probably about 3 times a month because I have 3 different mentees. And for one, this setup is something I just have not gotten around to automating yet. And there's only so much of it I could automate anyway because of how OBS works on Mac. Although maybe I could find a workaround for that or something. And then it's not interactive. I don't talk to chat during this time. Left half of right monitor, that's good. Yep, Discord in the other window. Yep, yep, yep. Pop out the video call, looks good. Set browser zoom to 125%. We're already there. All right, and now change the title and everything. Yeah. All right, nice. Yeah, the one thing that you'll never be able to automate with this is like, I need the knowledge from the last session in my mind, and I just need to look through the whole document for that. Ready when you are? Yeah, cool. I will probably still take another couple minutes at least. So change stream title. This is Peter, session number 7, I believe. Session number 7, yeah. Did I not? No, I did. Okay, good. Yep. Let me go change that. Edit. Delete the Godot stuff. There we go. Then change the today command. Today is Wednesday. Adam is mentoring Peter. This is their 7th session. Hey, Caleb. We're going to be doing mentoring right now. Excuse me. So I'm just transitioning into it. I just got to set up the rest of this stuff. Okay. Now it's just a matter of calling Peter. Nice. We're doing pretty well on time. I probably should have saved the old today command. Oh well. All right, let me switch out of studio mode now. Check this out. All right, let me give him a call. I'm going to ask about audio, by the way, once I'm in the call. So chat, if you can tell me, does Peter's voice sound good compared to mine? I'm not going to do a specific audio test. It'll just be something you can just share with me. Let me share this screen. Hello,
Hi.
hello. Wait,
Can you hear?
oh, yep, now I can. Yeah, I think it had cut out for a second.
Okay.
Are you having microphone problems by any chance?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just making sure because it's always tough at the start of the call to tell. But hi, welcome to session number 7. How
Hi.
have you been in general?
Well, it's been stressful. Let's say it. Yeah. So I told you buying a house in my off time, and yeah, a lot of general stuff that happens, and it's stressful currently. Yeah.
Yeah. You got the house, but then you don't actually move in for some amount of time, right?
Right, so we got the vocal yes, but we have to sign it at a German public office basically, and we are waiting for the date to sign this the house deal basically. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, even that process, even if you don't end up moving soon, they need all of your personal information, all of the, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I know that can still be stressful. And then there's just a mountain of paperwork to go through. And well, how much
it's a
do you,
lot, yeah.
yeah, how much do you feel that the house is contributing to your stress level?
Good question. I think I have a lot of my mind. I bought a lot of questions for you this time,
Yeah.
which we might have time to discuss. And So I have the house project, which is basically twofold. One is the paperwork, getting the paperwork ready for signing it, and the other side is which renovations want we to do.
Hmm.
We have the possibility to get in the house in about 6 months from now, so end of the year is planned. And but we want to renovate the house, basically completely overhauling the first floor. And we started planning on that. So this is one of the many things in my mind. Work is a lot of it. I have the topic of apps. I want to discuss my stress level in comparison to not developing my apps currently. So I'm not coding at the evenings, and I'm feeling like there's missing a stress outlet currently, which
Mm.
was coding my apps. Yeah, so that's on my mind. I had written down here. And there is a sailing license, which I started last year, and I did the first part of an exam, and this part is expiring next year, and I'm not sure when to schedule the second part of it, which is yeah, currently amounting to a lot.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like it. I was gonna say, when it comes to renovations, for example, that is a project that if you've been watching any of Ramey's mentoring sessions, it just expands to fill any available space and energy that you have. And if you can generate that space, and so what I wrote here is, do you have any breathing room? Is there a way for you to say, work, I'm going to put in 85% of my normal effort? Are you able to do something like that?
So I'm not feeling like I'm missing space. I'm missing a prioritization. I started a bad habit. I started binge watching YouTube because I'm feel overwhelmed by all of of the thoughts and stuff to do. I have the time, but I can't get myself to do anything in regards to this those things I mentioned.
Yeah, I think we'll end up talking about this a little bit more naturally throughout this, but I
Yeah.
think the binge watching, it sounds like a prioritization problem. I think what it is it's a problem of being overwhelmed, and
Hmm.
and even if you knew the priorities, you might still find it hard to get the motivation or energy to do those things. So it's important, I think, to call a problem what it is. So you were probably overworked,
Yeah.
and yeah, let's dive into some of the stuff that you've written here a little bit more.
Mhm.
And I just want to say, I think this is a sign of overwork. Um, and oh, actually, you know what? No, let's back up a step. I asked, is it possible for you to tell people at your work, I'm going to put in 15% less effort? Is that a thing you could potentially do?
S- Uh, to answer your question, yes, but I'm feeling like I am currently not under too much work pressure or work stress. I have flexible hours. It's summer vacation time in our office, so basically the office is regularly empty, and hence not too many meetings are scheduled. I don't have to take overtime. So it's currently a breathing phase in our company,
Mm.
and I feel that too. But my personal life is yeah, basically overwhelming.
Yeah, I see. Then let's dig in to one more part of this that you'd mentioned already, which is the sailing license. So
Mhm.
you mentioned that you've taken an exam that result of that is going to expire in the next year. What does this represent for you, this sailing license?
Um, I really would like to have this sailing license. The issue is not postponing it. The issue is that the German government is thinking about changing the basically the licensing and what you can do with it. And I know it would be a step down from what it is currently. And in my mind, it would be wasteful to not proceed it at the current time and take into basically agreeing that the license is smaller afterwards.
Okay, this is interesting because the first thought that came to my mind is Every once in a while, my wife and I will be like cleaning some part of our place, and
Mhm.
I'll pick up an item, something like this, and I'll say like, "Hey, when was the last time you used this?" And she'll say, "I don't know, 2 years ago." And I'm like, "Well, then shouldn't we get rid of it if we haven't used it in
Yeah.
2 years?" Um, and she says, "Well, but I can see a need for it. What if we're in this scenario?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Okay, totally. But if it hasn't happened in 2 years, it probably won't happen." The reason I tell you this seemingly unrelated story is that you, the German government might, maybe they have plans to, maybe they're going
Yeah.
to definitely follow up on, hey, we're going to have this smaller class of license or something like that.
Mhm.
Do you know for sure that's going to impact you?
So okay, we have to backtrack a little bit. There's a flip side to the story.
Hmm.
I am currently an instructor for new boat enthusiasts, and I'm allowed to basically hold courses and teach other people to basically uh, get their license. I'm qualified to do that,
Yeah.
but the qualification for me is the next step up to do more of that. And I really like doing those courses, and so that's one side. The
Hmm.
second side, I really like sailing, and I would like to do this by myself, and I need this license therefore. Um, and the side of the German government is thinking about reducing the license. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple things. I think both times now you've said they're thinking of. So there's no definite plan that this is going to happen.
It's, German government is slow, and
Yeah.
the administration is advising the German government to do so, but that licensing will take place, I think, in the near future.
Okay. And then the next part of this, and I it might sound like I'm belaboring this, but I want to make sure we've covered every
Yeah.
aspect of this. The next part of this is, let's say they go through tomorrow with this change, or
Mhm.
a week from now, some amount of time where you would have been able to act differently. Will you getting in under that change make it so that now forever you're going to be fine? Or
Yeah.
in two? Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, so then the next question is, how much work does it represent for you to get this license?
Um, 3 weeks of every evening after work.
Okay. I
It's
can
a
see where
lot.
the problem comes in because, yeah, what you mentioned about a whole first floor renovation, getting the house, everything, yeah, that is definitely a challenge. Um, if you, okay, again, the other lens here is if you didn't get the license and they did
Mhm.
change the licensing process, is
Mhm.
there a new process that lets you do this 2 years down the line? Is it just harder? Is it not possible?
It's it's a lot harder to get the license after that to get the basically the same allowance that I would get with this license.
Okay. Okay, so I think it is assuming everything pans out the way that you think it
Mhm.
will, and since that's all I have to go on because I don't know anything about German
Yeah.
government,
Yeah.
here's what I would say: you are left with a decision of do I really, really, really push myself now? Because can you find
Yeah.
3 weeks of every evening, even with the breathing room you have from work, given that you're going through this house process? It's like, well, maybe you didn't have the house process, but you can't drop that now. You've already gotten the vocal yes. You're going to need to sign this. You're going to need to provide the paperwork. So in my mind, if you had to pick which things to drop, and that's kind of what this is, it's a feeling overwhelmed. What do we
Mhm.
change or what can we push off? It would probably be this. And there are two reasons why I think. One, this is not necessary, as
Mhm.
opposed to the house, which you could also argue is not necessary, but in terms of what you're doing, it's pretty much necessary.
Mhm.
Uh, and two is that it might take the government longer than you think, to the point where 4 months from now you find yourself with breathing room and you're not renovating a house, and then you can maybe slot in that time. Although I guess the weather would change.
Um, the renovating of the house can only start in 6 months. I'm only planning the renovation, and I have 6 months to complete this planning before I can get into the house and do the renovation.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's now or basically wait for after we move into this new home, which is basically 1 year. I'm planning on. Um, so now or basically never. It's That's what's sounding in my mind.
but the way you said it to me was it'll just get harder to get the license if you wait, let's say it's
Yeah,
6 months.
but it's stupidly hard. It's we are not talking 3 weeks of doing so, but we are talking about 2 weeks or 3 weeks of being on a sail ship
Yeah.
to complete the practical part of the exam, plus an additional 6 weeks of evening studies. It's not in my mind. It's not fairly comparable.
I see what you're saying. And okay, so I think your body has a response to things, and the way you approach things with your mentality also it reveals quite a lot. And the simplest example I have for this is, imagine you went to a barbecue and someone asked you, how is the food, and you said it's not terrible. It's like, that could be, you could have, it could be the best food you've ever had in your life,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't say it's not terrible. So your body is telling you you're doing too much. and
Mhm.
and yet your mind is telling you, if I can get these 3 weeks in,
Yeah, right.
then I won't have to do maybe 9 weeks later. But you've already got the answer, I feel, in front of you, which is you find it hard to fit this in on top of everything that's going on. Now, if you could say, okay, we've got 6 months till the renovations. If I were to, I had originally said, what if you said, I can only do 85% at work?
Mhm.
What if you, I don't know, told whoever else is on board with this, probably your girlfriend, hey, I can only put in 50% of my time for this, or I have to ignore a month of it. That's the other route that you could go here. But I don't think you can have it all in this case. I think it's gonna
Mhm.
kind of break you down and make you watch way more hours of YouTube.
I have to think about it. In my mind, it's sounding more like put on hold on planning the renovation because there's only so much you can plan without going into the house, and we are not able to. And it doesn't matter if I have finished all the planning I have to do before I get into the house, because I still have 6 months of renovation to do, where I have also time to plan basically.
Yeah, and I don't know how long it will take, and I also don't know what your emergency plan is. Like, if it's not all done, could you just rent an apartment for 2 months? And yeah, it's not
We can
ideal.
stay in this apartment, yeah.
Yeah. So those are other considerations that I would have here.
Yeah.
But what I would not consider is, how do I do everything in the same time
Mhm.
frame I'd originally planned? Because it's clearly not possible, or you probably would have done
Yeah.
it. Or it would involve getting other people to do some of this stuff. So that is actually another route. These renovations, I'm sure there are people who could just kind of handle this, and you just
Yeah.
give them some inputs. Have you considered that? Is that even an option?
I did not, but it's an option, and I will talk about this with my girlfriend. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the wisest thing in my mind to do.
Okay. Yeah. In the same time frame. Otherwise, something has to give. And I find, this is what I think is nice about having many sessions with the same person is, pretty early on, it was apparent that you will naturally fill your time with productive things and things you like to
Mhm.
do, but you'll also naturally go beyond what you're capable of in
Yeah.
terms of keeping your stress level under control. So it always becomes a question of, what can we drop and how do we drop it without the most things going wrong. So
Mhm.
how do you minimize that impact? So yeah, I think your routes here are, delay the timeline, lean on other people, delegate directly to other people, put off the sailing thing and hope that the government is even slower than you think, and that when you finally have the time, it'll all just line up anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about here, and you're feel free to bring things up yourself here too, but I don't think you mentioned these courses before. Do the courses, I know you said you really like them, do they
Mhm.
represent stress or work in any sense to you?
So that's the neat thing about this course, those courses. It's basically a networking event for me, because the stuff I tell them isn't changing. I have a complete set of PowerPoint presentations
Hmm.
ready in the sleeve, and those the time invest is big. So there are about 4 days across 2 weekends. When I take those courses, but those courses are the last one I took was April. I had it was April, I think. It's not too regularly, and I like meeting new people, and it's something um, I don't have pressure to do, and I can choose if I want to do them, and last times I said yes. Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, because this is another thing, which is I've sometimes had it happen in my life where there are a lot of things I want to do, and all these things are wants. It's like I will
Mhm.
naturally do them at some point, and yet if you throw them all in front of me at one time, it's like, okay, now it's too much. I can't do them all. And I want to make sure we're not in that situation. So knowing that you can bail out of these at some point individually, but that you like to do them, I think is what's
Yeah.
important for this. So yeah.
We have a team of 3, and everyone is able to hold those courses. So basically, we can shift around who takes which course. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, on an unrelated note, my wife and I were just talking about how there are certain social clubs in the US, probably worldwide
Mhm.
actually, that have just been dwindling with the rise of the internet.
Yeah.
And it's nice that you're doing this and bringing more like new blood into this. And they can eventually, 5 years down the line, become instructors themselves if they
Yeah.
find that they like it. So, yeah, I think that's cool. So, anything else on this general topic? I know the stress theme is going to pervade throughout, but the sailing, the
Um,
renovations.
so because I have written down it further down, there is also a health issue in the family of my girlfriend. The grandmother of her is very ill, and that puts some thoughts in my head. Um, but there's nothing I can do about this. It's only another thing on top of it.
I see. Um, yeah. So about the health situation, I don't know the situation. You don't need to share it. That you said there's nothing you can do, I think tells me enough. But I will say this: there's still a process you go through mentally in getting through this,
Mhm.
and I always say that there are no shortcuts to that process. So it's not like, well, I'll just immerse myself in work and ignore it, and things will go
Yeah.
away. It's like there is time that needs to be spent processing that.
Yeah.
So and that pulls from your limited pool that you have. Um, how is your girlfriend doing? Do you feel that she needs more support during this time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's nothing bad happened yet, but it's foreseeable that it will happen. And yeah, obviously you want to be there for them. And yeah, it's definitely not a time I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that can be tough. And I think the other thing too is, and this is something to be mindful of, I don't know how much you like, let's say you need 100 points of support for whatever it is
Mhm.
you're doing in your life. How much is coming from your girlfriend? And now that she's the one who needs support, how
Yeah.
much do you so you really got to consider that equation because you've mentioned a lot of things now and
Mhm.
and I feel like the support of your girlfriend is one of those things on this list. So, yeah, definitely consider that the support you got now shifts to support you have to give.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I want to read this really fast. Started to develop a new anti-pattern, procrastination, yeah, binge watching YouTube and Twitch. Um, have you seen this behavior in yourself in the past? Because I think you've mentioned something like this in the past.
Yes, but not at this level. So this is really new for me. It's where I want to shut down my brain. Beforehand, it was more along the lines of let's start some YouTube and take the laptop and start programming on a side. And sometimes I fell into YouTube and Twitch more than coding. But that's on another level. There is nothing holding me back from completely absorbing YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah. When you start, you said you wanted to clear your brain, and then presumably you find yourself and it's hours later. Do you feel like your brain was successfully cleared during that time?
No,
Okay, yeah,
it's really putting it on hold, but afterwards it's the same amount of thoughts starting to rush in.
I see. Have you ever you have some problem that's hanging over you like this stuff
Yeah.
and you come to a conclusion about it that somehow makes it feel almost like you've solved the problem, like now it's tackleable? Maybe it's hard to come up with
Not,
an
not,
example, but
not yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as an example, what if your girlfriend came to you tomorrow or the sellers came to you, the ones who had the vocal yes on the house and just said, "Sorry, we're not doing it." And you just thought, "Oh, well, actually that's a relief because
Hmm.
I had all these renovations and everything." And I wonder if So I've had this happen with me too. Sometimes there's just a lot of work ahead of you, and once you get through the work is when you'll feel better. But sometimes it's knowing you have a plan of how to tackle it.
Mhm.
And I wonder if we can come up with something maybe in the next 40 minutes of what will make you feel like there's less on your plate and this is more manageable.
There are multiple things that come to mind. The first of which being I need a better stress outlet. So this realization that I'm procrastinating is fairly new. I
Mhm.
think I talked with my girlfriend yesterday about this, and so I'm one step ahead since Monday, but it's not yet processed completely.
Yeah.
I'm looking into what could I do to sort my mind. I think that's one part of it, and I consider taking a walk, but I didn't start it yet. Um, and there's also I need another stress outlet which relieves stress and takes my mind into a mode where I'm sorted, I'm relaxed um, before having those thoughts rushing. And I'm not sure how to find that. I think I mentioned it further down. If starting programming again would help without the pressure on releasing an app. Um, but yeah, I'm not completely sorted on this front yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the ideas I have now is what if you were to answer the question of what isn't working for you? So we could start by, filling the
Mhm.
board with watching 4 hours of YouTube does not seem to be helping.
Yeah.
Um, do you know that other things are not solutions here? You suggested that walking might help, but do you know at least what isn't working?
Reading isn't helping. Listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Um, Listening to music does help, but not as much as I hoped. Um, and socializing is also, I think, pausing the thoughts. Afterwards, I feel I really enjoy meeting my friends, but it's not helping with relieving stress in this
Yeah,
situation.
I see. Okay, let me back up a step. You said reading books, audiobooks, and yet the last, I think, 6 books you've told me about have all been like time to improve myself kind of books.
Yeah.
Are you ever trying just leisurely, normal books,
Uh, I'm not that of a reader. I find it really hard to consume books, and I'm not. I would prefer video games over books,
Yeah.
for example.
Okay. The reason I bring this up is because in the last meeting we had, so about a month ago, you'd recommended, I think, the Lean Startup, and then there was a like 101 essays. So and the regularity with which you have brought up books like that has been regular enough where I would say
Mhm.
maybe throw in a leisure book and just see how it would work. Because
Yeah.
okay, you might have heard me talk about this on my stream. I read the Harry Potter books when they first came out,
Mhm.
and then as an adult, I think I watched the movies and I was like, okay, whatever. I'm now listening to the audiobooks
Mhm.
and just seeing what lens do I have, and it's really enjoyable. It's not a book that makes you think a whole lot. It's just a relaxing thing, and it's really nice. And actually, my wife and I both listen together, so it's also like a bonding activity there.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's worth giving it a shot. I don't think this is going to be a cure-all for your situation, but it might be something that helps at least. Uh, but then the pausing the thoughts that you mentioned. So I guess let me write this down here.
Yeah.
Try a book for leisure. Try just something where you're like, you know what, that sounds like a cool idea, or people have been talking about this.
Yeah.
Then the second thing though, so socializing pauses the thoughts. This suggests to me that something is unaddressed in your head and that it's not necessarily an activity that you need to find, but I'm not positive about that. So how does that make you feel just hearing that?
It's the feeling of being overwhelmed. It's something I don't feel regularly, and it's yeah, it's something new for me, and I don't know if I need to um, go in the meta layer above being overwhelmed, or if I need to basically address the situations that make me feel overwhelmed. I'm not. Yeah. Does it make sense?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
So, do you mind maybe like reframing what you said a little bit?
So we talked about processing grief, and sometimes it helps to process the grief and addressing what happened there, and sometimes it helps to go a step back and addressing how you process grief.
Yeah.
And being on another level and addressing the feeling you are feeling right now. And I'm not sure whether I should address the feeling of being overwhelmed because I want to be suited for the next time I'm feeling overwhelmed, or if I should address the things individually that make me feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So this makes me think two things. There are the desires that we have that lead us to these situations. So, for example, you want to be CTO, so you put yourself in situations where you'll learn coding, you'll learn leadership, you'll learn management, you'll learn how companies work. And then there are the sort of latent desires that you're not aware of, like you just want progress, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you just want progress probably resonates with you because like I said, your reading goes toward that. You know, every hobby that you have, you're pushing it to a limit where it's like, how do I be really good at this? How do I, and even the way you talked about your exam that you originally took that got you into the leadership position now, it wasn't just, I want to be a leader. It was, I want to do better than my coworkers. So that desire is steering everything you do without you realizing that it's steering it. And unfortunately, I think there's only so much we can talk about and with the number of sessions that we have left. But I think an actual, like a serious consideration here would be some kind of like more professional mental help in terms of your psychology. So like, yeah, I'll write a psychologist here to find out why that is the way that it is, because there, I can speculate, I can try to come up with ideas around it, but there might be something where you're just like, oh, I didn't know this about myself, or I don't know the coping mechanism to deal with this sort of thing. I think the other side of that, so there's the desire that puts you in these activities, and then there was, I'd say you've gotten a lot better at this over the course of our sessions, but analyzing where you can drop things and figuring out how to do that gracefully. So let me look at this again really fast. Yeah, so you said the processing grief, not sure if you want to address you're feeling overwhelmed right now, so you're ready for it in the future. I would say skip the how do I address this for the future. You are overwhelmed now, so just get out of the situation where you're, you know, scooping water out of your sailboat and get to the point where you're sailing again, and then worry about, okay, how would we stop this in the future? So yeah, address the feeling of being overwhelmed now and worry about preventing this when you have the, I don't know, the mental energy to do that. Yeah. And so this feeling of being overwhelmed now, if you could drop something from your plate and have no repercussions whatsoever, what would you pick?
Work.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's taking up the most amount of time in my day, and if I could spend this time otherwise, I wouldn't have those feelings of being overwhelmed. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, because earlier when I had said, what if you just put in 85% of your time at work, that you said work isn't actually the biggest thing right now.
It's not the biggest thing in my mind, but it's taking the most time of my day out of my day.
Okay. This is really important. And to me, this is the first thing that came to my head as you said this is when we talked about releasing and you said, coding is fun. I like working on side projects. And in almost the same breath said, releasing sucks. Android sucks. I hate the Google Play Store. And I'm like, wait a second, Peter, those two things are not the same. So you kind of said this here too. Work may not be the biggest contributor to your stress, but every little thing adds up. if someone came to you on the street and said, "Hey, could I get directions somewhere?" That's still something that you're doing. And if
Mhm.
1,000 people showed up after that and also asked you for directions, you'd be like, "Enough, I can't handle this." And
Yeah.
they're all stacking up. So I think it's worth addressing where you can find the breathing room, and that idea of, hey, could I put in 15% less effort? The reason I kind of say that is I feel like everyone can be inconsistent for short periods of time, and it's
Mhm.
fine. If you have a limit to, like, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm looking for a house right now, I think everyone would have leniency with you and would understand that you're still doing what you can, and that there's just a lot on your plate, and that things will eventually return to normal. And you, I think, even internally have a plan that it would return to normal. It's
Mhm.
not just a, hey, I'm trying to take advantage of the system. So is it possible that, I know you said summer hours, there are fewer meetings, but is it possible to do even a little bit less?
I think so, but I would have to think about where I carving out that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's worth at least thinking about, because if you find after doing an evaluation that no, it's not possible, sorry, there's just no way, then fine. Hey, at least you approached it.
Mhm.
But yeah, for you to say if you could cut one thing out, it would be work. And then, by the way, if you did, let's just say, and I'm not proposing this, but let's say you just quit
Yeah.
your job. Now, there's definitely no one who's being harmed at the company by you not doing something or whatever.
Mhm.
They'd have to figure it out. So would you be able, do you feel like that would be it and your life would kind of return to a normal equilibrium?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I think this is a very sort of roundabout way of us concluding the same kind of general thing, which is too much
Mhm.
is going on. We need to cut things out. And I think that anything you try to find to process the feeling of being overwhelmed or get your mind off of this is going to be temporary, because you're going to still have the same tasks on your
Mhm.
plate when you're done with whatever activity it is. So, and that's not to say that these activities aren't working. They probably are. It's still helping you,
Yeah.
and it's just not addressing the underlying problem. So yeah, I think key thing here is doing too much. So need to find ways to cut down or back. And yeah, the general ideas were things like, yeah, delegate the renovations, hold off on the boating license or sailing
Yeah.
license, hold off on the renovations, hold off on the work that you have to do. Something needs to be shifted in a way.
Mhm.
And yeah. Um, so how do you feel about just that idea of cutting back, of shifting things
I
around?
feel good. I think it's the right approach. But as I said, I have to think about it. I have to process it. It doesn't. For me, it's not a toggle I can switch
Yeah, yeah,
from on or off, but it's a process to get there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree, and I think looking at it through that lens, it's like, I know I've said this before, but if someone tells you an opinion, hey, you should watch this TV show, maybe you say yes, maybe you don't. Then the second or third person tells you, and you're like, all right, I better watch this. And the first
Yeah.
person wonders, why didn't he just say yes when I told him?
Yeah.
So I think the same thing happens here. It's like each time you hear a message, it kind of goes down a little bit easier. And then it eventually becomes your own nature to now try to
Mhm.
prevent a situation. So that you talked about earlier, should I address the feeling of being overwhelmed, or should I address what is overwhelming you right now?
Mhm.
I think that feeling of being overwhelmed, the more you go through this, especially because you tend to be a very like self-improvement oriented person, I think you will naturally now realize, oh, this is like that last situation I was in where I ended
Yeah.
up doing too much. I'm watching a lot of YouTube. Or you get to the point where you just have the signs that you've done too much. Like, hey,
Mhm.
I'm now procrastinating a lot. And what does that mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. And look, today is probably the perfect day for me to be talking about this, given that I mean, you messaged me before this saying, hey, are you sure
Yeah.
you want to have this session? I know that I'm doing too much in my life, and I'm purposely trying to cut back. So it's,
Mhm.
yeah, pot calling the kettle black is what we say in English. um, okay,
Yeah.
well, good. Anyway, I'd love to hear how your processing goes. And at the very least,
Mhm.
we'll talk about it in the next mentoring session.
Yeah.
Shall we move on from this then?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, the last thing I wrote here is I did a lot of socializing in the past 2 weeks. It was really nice to meet up with friends I met. I think last year, the last time last year, and yeah, it was nice catching up. They did renovate a house for themselves, and yeah, it was nice talking about that. And yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it,
Do you feel like I know you said you hadn't seen these friends in a year.
Yeah.
Are they around and you could have seen them, or is this like they were in town and they're visiting?
So basically, they're neighbors, a few blocks down the street. But yeah, we have basically we meet only a few times a year. It's really nice meeting them again, but I know it will be a time before I meet them again. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a problem with that. I think so, as I mentioned, maybe someday in the future, 3 years from now, you're like, I'm watching a lot of YouTube and you realize, okay, that must mean that there was a problem. Yeah, how do I do things? What I noticed about myself is when I'm hanging out with some of these people that I see very infrequently, it meant I finally have the breathing room and the energy to do those things, which is usually a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know if this was in that weird sort of limbo in between we got the offer and now we're planning renovations and
No, it was
oh,
completely unrelated. It was a barbecue invitation from another friend, and we met another friend from mine without talking beforehand.
I see,
And
I see.
yeah, it was a nice get together at a barbecue and another friend.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
really good. Also, you probably have this written somewhere, but how did the work barbecue was for fun, but how did that one go?
Yeah, it's 2 points, bullet points down.
Okay, yeah.
It was really nice. Next time I will take the train because I it was about 1.5 hours each trip, additionally to the 6 hours trip due to traffic. And yeah, the only reason I didn't take the train in the first place was the um, yeah. Don't know the English word, the punctuation of the trains.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Their timeliness, punctuality, I guess.
Timeliness, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, genau, yeah, right. Yeah, but it was really nice. We were the it was a complete weekend. We drove Friday to Berlin, stayed 2 nights at a colleague's place, and Sunday back with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Saturday was the barbecue, and yeah, my colleague was really nice. It was better than the 5-star restaurants I've stayed at,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
with crepes and pancakes in the morning, and she really outdid themselves. Uh, yeah, and the party it was less business related than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a meeting where a lot of business would take place. It wasn't the case, especially because my manager did invite some of them, his close friends, so tennis buddies and colleagues from the wife of his, and it was a really round group of people, so you wouldn't be able to talk business without making someone feeling displaced.
So wait, before you go on, there are two things
Yeah.
I wanna talk about. One, in your first bullet point here, you said it was nice, but not at all relaxing. It was
Yeah.
the not relaxing part just due to the traffic or the event?
So I need my weekends for disconnecting from work,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was a weekend with my work colleagues, and it wasn't a relaxing weekend from work, but it was work related in my mind, and I was missing the complete relaxation part in the week afterwards.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that makes sense. And this, by the way, another sign that there's probably too much going on is when you feel like, okay, I need recharge time and I'm not getting it. And even
Mhm.
when there's something fun, which I mean, it sounds like the event, yeah, it was fun, it
It
was
was
nice,
fun.
but yeah,
Yeah.
not relaxing. The other thing I wanted to talk about, what was it? What was it? Oh yeah. You mentioned that you wouldn't have been able to have these business conversations without,
Mhm.
putting someone ill at ease.
Yeah.
How do you like the non-work discussions that take place at these things? Are they refreshing or are you like, oh, thank goodness?
It was really nice. It was connecting to the people behind the management part.
Yeah.
It was getting to know each other on on another level,
Yeah.
and it was really refreshing. Yeah, and it's something that I think, will now naturally follow up. It wouldn't be able. So we have some on-site meetings in the office where we basically meet all together for work-related things, and it's kind of standard to go in the evening, eat together, and go into some restaurant. And at those lunches, or dinner in this case, we would always talk business.
Yeah.
Because we had nothing other to connect to, and now we have some topics. We have identified some shared opinions and shared hobbies.
Interests? Yeah, hobbies, interests.
Interest
Yeah.
is what we're looking for. Yeah, and this makes it easier to connect on this level at some restaurant in the evening.
Yeah, this is there are a couple of aspects here. One, I find this happens more with remote teams from what I've seen because you don't just bump into somebody in the hallway and then say,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, what did you do over the weekend?" And if you don't have that ability to just stumble into somebody, then you only meet them during meeting times, and there might be a tiny bit of small talk in the first minute before someone shows up, but it's usually knowing that it's going to get cut off. It's usually pretty superficial. So that's one aspect. The other aspect I was going to say is that I've seen this happen a lot. Work people get together and it will eventually steer toward work. And it's probably true of really anything. If you got together with all your sailing buddies and you were out at a different event, they might be like, "So did you see the news about whatever's happened, the license changes?" And yeah. So I'm glad you got to do this. The reason I brought those two things up is because I wonder if it's worth trying to get to know some of the people who wouldn't or couldn't be at some of these events without having an event. Like, could there be a Friday once every 3 or 4 weeks, just a lunch where a few people join? Yeah.
So, are you talking a virtual lunch, or are you talking inviting someone into the office and meeting in the office?
Anything. I just wonder if there should be something where you don't need to wait for a barbecue to finally get to the point where, okay, I can bond with this person over more than just a work level.
So, funnily enough, I have a meeting on Friday talking about work culture and how we could improve our team, basically, and building this team spirit. And one of the things I was thinking about is exactly doing that Friday, doing a virtual lunch together in small groups or something like that, and maybe rotating at least for a small team where you know who's working regularly with you. And I think our company can improve on that front a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that is on my mind, which I'm currently trying to address. And I know that my manager, one level higher, is thinking about that the same.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are social creatures and it's one thing to work with people, depend on them, rely on them and everything. But then it's almost like you close your laptop and those people cease to exist. It's like, what is their life outside of this? Do we have common interests? And it's, for one, it's a little sad almost. It's like, this is what life has become when I feel like 100 years ago, it was unfathomable. And two is that you just notice the benefits of what happens when you go to a barbecue and you get to know some of these people. So I think it is worth looking into. I would also suggest, this is just a kind of very minor thing, but if you were to just say, "Hey, virtual lunch, everybody get together," and hope that they talk, it's a little hard to spark conversation. So usually having an activity or having someone sort of suggest some topics even, and anything to get it
So
going.
maybe a question, because you have seen a lot in bigger companies. I feel like those getting to know each other meetings are only working well if they are held regularly. So it's not a one time thing, but you have to try to build up on that. Um, how much, how many connections could you form within the company? You can't know every one of the employees and your colleagues basically, but how big is the group you try to spend the extra effort for?
So it's very much subjective, and I think you'll sort of know when you've hit the limit because you'll know that you can't remember facts that you've met about somebody
Hmm.
because either the frequency is it's too infrequent or
Hmm.
just that there wasn't enough contact for the times that you are meeting. So I don't think there's an exact number, but also I think maybe there might have been a tiny miscommunication here. So when I was suggesting like an activity or something, I don't mean the sort of corporate team building activities. I mean like, you could play Among Us with your coworkers, for example.
That's what I
Oh
meant.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, there's another thing. So I was in Toastmasters a long time ago, and one
Hmm.
of the sections that they have for that is called Table Topics, where whoever's hosting it will come up with
Hmm.
something like, yeah, what kind of magical creature have you wanted to own if you could, or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, those sorts of things, that idea of just table topics is a great way to start to get to know people
Hmm.
because you can pick the questions and make sure that they're not anything offensive or potentially
Yeah.
stepping on anyone's toes. And the kinds of answers you get spark a lot of conversation. And
Hmm.
people, here's what I think the best part is, people aren't searching for ways to fill the silence because they know that if there's ever a lull, there will just be a new question asked.
Hmm.
So I think that's the real benefit of that. So anyway, if you can incorporate any of that for the lunches. But yeah, as far as your question of like how many connections is too many or how many do you need, I think it's really play it by ear and feel like, are people connecting? Are you noticing
Hmm.
morale improving? Those are the kinds of things I would probably look at. And do you see friends forming, like any
Yeah.
friendships or yeah? Because that'll become apparent at some point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Improving friendships forming, yeah. Okay, go by train next time. Yeah. Yeah, and you're gonna have to still go I think you said every 5 weeks or so, right?
So the upcoming weeks are stressful. So for the next 5 weeks, I'm spending 4 weeks of them in out of my home, basically. 3 weeks are Berlin, 1 week is Hamburg.
Okay. Um, I can't help but go back to the whole, yeah, work isn't that bad, but like work is taking up quite a lot of time. And then these trips, I think you had said 1 out of every 5 weeks would be fine. Four
Yeah.
out of every 5 weeks is certainly too much, and I don't know where exactly the limit is, but yeah, even 2 out of every 5 weeks is probably too much, especially given everything else that's going on. Is
Yeah.
there a way for you to skip any of these?
I tried. There's 1 week I'm still debating on going, but the other weeks are more or less mandatory for me.
Yeah. What's happening at them that requires you to be there?
So we have the by we have every half year we have to do reports, talks with our direct reports,
Hmm.
and those are starting for the Q3. So yeah, basically a lot of direct report meetings in the office, and there are some meetings where the management level comes together and decides on the new OKRs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. Objective key results. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think you will be doing a service for your direct reports to be there in person.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. I would still be remiss if I didn't ask, is it possible that you could do it virtually with some of them? Maybe they could opt in. They could say they're comfortable, so now you can do it separately.
I did reduce the number of talks we have. I have for this those 3 weeks to about half. So I
Yeah.
did ask my reports, but they prefer those scheduled meetings are preferred in personas
Yeah.
meetings.
Well, look, I want to bring up another thing, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I think long term you should probably consider a company that's closer to you because you don't know what's going to happen in the future with this. Maybe they say, okay, now instead of doing this biannually, we're doing it every quarter. And
Mhm.
now you find out, oh, hey, that 1 out of every 5 weeks averages out to 3 out of every 5 weeks. And at that point, you just, yeah, I think one of
It's
the,
something
nope, sorry, you first.
to look at regularly, but at this current point in time, it's something that I'm quite new to, and
Yeah.
I don't know where it will settle in.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
my mind, it's too early to jump to conclusions, but yes, that's something that is on my mind. Yeah.
I agree completely. I definitely think it's too early. And also, just like I said, that people should be able to be inconsistent for short periods of time.
Yeah.
Companies can too. So, yes, if you have to go 3 out of every 5 weeks once a year, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
If that were to change, actually, no, yeah, let's leave it at that because there's no point in an if that might not happen. Let me see if I had anything else I want to say for that. Oh yeah, yeah. So you said there was one talk you could maybe get out of. Is it because of the people who were going to be there, or just like what's allowing you
It's
to get out of that?
the meeting about the OKRs.
Mm,
It's I think I'm able to convince my manager if I could join virtually, because it's unreasonable for me to go for a complete week only because of one meeting. On the other hand, it will be a meeting where in the evening you go to dinner and connecting to the managers, and it's yeah. On the one hand, I would like to be there, only because I missed the first one they did on in April, I think,
yeah.
and yeah, I think it's something where I'm expected to be there in person.
Hmm. I think I think any meeting you can show up in person if it had no cost to you is probably a meeting worthwhile showing up in person.
Yeah.
And since there is a gigantic cost, then it's okay, pick the most important ones. And I
Yeah.
think as you grow, there are going to be more and more important meetings that it's going to be hard to determine, okay, now
Mhm.
which ones really matter and when am I stretching myself too thin? It's unfortunate given everything you've talked about because
Yeah.
there's just so much going on. And now is especially the time. And by the way, it's like when you know how they say hindsight is 2020. When you look back at this and you see, oh, that's why I was on YouTube for so long. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, because all this stuff that's happening. It's like you just need a rest. You need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to make sure we can touch on this next thing, imposter syndrome, because
Yes.
we're starting to run out of time here.
Um, yeah. So there was a situation where my another manager, not my manager, another manager talked really highly of another manager,
Hmm.
one step higher, and not my direct manager.
Yeah.
So relatively far from me away. And he talked about how impressed he was with his leading skills, with his management skills, and I'm at the point where I'm looking for new impulses. What can I improve on with leading new people and
Yeah.
leading people? So I feel like I'm settling into this new position, but now I want to yeah, do what my direct reports need, and yeah, basically I'm not sure how to get feedback on that front to improve on this,
Yeah.
and yeah, what to get your
So
thoughts.
does your company do any sort of required yearly survey? Any sort of they do?
We got them back, I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and it's unfortunate that we can't influence what is being asked. There is some. I talked. We are a big corporation, and we got basically the same questionnaire as every uh, sub company in this corporation, and it is not representing the questions I would have for my direct reports.
I see.
Um,
And
it
also,
is
it
something.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that didn't cover. It's not like it was just for the last quarter when you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. It's a good starting point. It's a good indicator of what is being really bad or what is really good. But you have always the procedure of following up on and asking them. And I did that. I asked my direct reports regarding this employee questionnaire. Um, what they feel is the most pressing thing I should address, but that wasn't something in my hand to address.
Yeah, I see.
So I had to delegate it up the chain to address that. And obviously, I'm following up on this, but it's nothing I can personally address.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm not sure how to get this feedback from my direct reports to
I see.
my leading skills
Yeah.
in that case.
So I think that there are always signs. And I
Hmm.
think that also, since you're new to this, it is natural to want to know that you're on the right track and get the sort of validation if you are and understand what you can do better. But I will say this, let's say you did nothing specific about this for the next year. You will just naturally improve as you learn and see these signs
Hmm.
yourself. With that said, if you want to hasten this process, I think what you could do is you could talk to a small handful of your direct reports, the people you trust to actually give you feedback, and just ask them directly something like, look, I'm honestly looking to improve as a leader. What do you think I could be doing better? And
Hmm.
just that, and you don't have to tell me now. You could always tell me via email or something, but I'm open to it. I'd like to improve. There won't be any repercussions, et cetera, et cetera. So
Hmm.
make them feel at ease, and that's it. And that's as much as you can do, is give people a platform.
Yep.
Beyond that, it's hard to know what their actual thoughts are, because they might say something to you but actually
Hmm.
think something different. It's hard to know if they need things and they don't even know that they need those things, and you should be the one to provide them. Some people are going to be newer employees or older employees with different
Hmm.
expectations. So yeah, I think you will learn to read the signs yourself naturally, and
Hmm.
any blanks will get filled in by either surveys or directly talking to people. And it could go the other way too, where you ask the people above you, hey, what do you think that I could be doing better? That's another, I think,
Hmm.
good thing. And that's much more expected given that they are your manager or
Yeah.
your boss or whatever. Yeah. So yeah.
So I'm asking my direct manager regularly. As I mentioned, we have regular one-on-ones, which really help. I really enjoy them. I think I can ask him basically everything, and we had quite deep discussions in those one-on-ones. Um, but I feel like he's fond of me. I think even if there would be things I could improve, he would focus on the things I'm doing good. And yeah, I would like to know where I'm not as strong.
Okay. There's another force at play here, which, I've heard people say, play to your strengths and not try to
Hmm.
correct all of your weaknesses, because you're not a company of one person. And so those weaknesses will get corrected by somebody else. Suppose you were really bad
Hmm.
at writing contracts or something. Okay, fine. Push it off to somebody else. And maybe that's what your manager recognizes and is doing for
Yeah.
that reason, is like, look, if I told you, hey, you could get better at X, then you're going to go put a bunch of time into X when there's really no reason. Like the mix of good to bad that you're
Hmm.
doing is way more heavily favored toward good. So just focus on those things. So that's the last part of this, I think, which is, if you're not getting signs that things are wrong, then they're probably good. And
Okay.
it's tough to live in that world without the validation of, yes, you're on the right
Hmm.
track, but yeah, I think it's also going to be hard to get that. So um,
Yeah.
you're probably doing great.
Funny you mentioned that play to your strength and not your weaknesses. Because I found one of my weaknesses. It's I'm really bad writing management formulations.
Hmm.
I had to do some texts which were going up the chain above my CEO into the corporation, which is I didn't know I had to write those texts, and I wasn't able to do them as such that my manager was complying with them, and basically he did them for me. And I asked him how could I improve, and what should I do in this case, and he mentioned I'm not as strong as either. He took my texts, reformulated them, and took them to the CEO to reformulate the text my manager wrote. So yeah, um, it's something I think I have to get used to.
Yeah, it is. And it is hard. It really is. And this is, I feel like there's a good breadth of topics I talk about with the various mentees. And I feel like this was one of them, is validation. And how do you get it when you're used to, for all of your schooling, just getting a grade? That grade tells you exactly how you're doing.
Yeah.
Then you go into the workforce and you're a junior employee and they say you're on the right track and you get performance reviews and you get promoted. Now the
Yeah.
promotions are going to be much fewer and farther between. There's going to be fewer people who are even above you as you go up the ladder
Yeah.
who would give you that feedback. And it's pretty rare that your direct will just sort of unsolicitedly give you like a, hey, you're doing great. I have no problems, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that said, you probably are doing great. And even like you just noticed here, this manager formulation stuff, your own manager can't really do it that well, and yet it's still getting done. So
Yeah.
clearly the wheels keep spinning.
Yeah.
I want to say one last thing here, and we can try to bump these other things to the next meeting.
Yeah.
This is session number 7. I plan on doing 2 more sessions. So if there's anything you want to prioritize, I'm going to leave it to you to just put sort of higher up in the list, because otherwise I'm going to just, talk about whatever we're talking about.
Maybe one organizational topic. What do you think of taking the next session in 2 months? Because I'm, as I mentioned, 4 weeks out of the next 5 in Berlin, and also, it seems only right to do so.
Yeah, I think
okay.
that's good. And I'm going to be on vacation for some amount of time anyway, and I usually just kind of
Yeah.
bump
Okay.
things naturally. So that sounds good to me.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, well, cool. Thank you, Peter. I wish you luck. Really,
Thank
please
you.
do consider some of the stuff we talked about here. Really
Yeah.
cutting back, I think, is a good idea.
Thank you.
All right.
And yes, you started my mind, and I think it really helped. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. All right, well, have a good
Thank
rest of your
you.
Wednesday. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, chat. Let's clap for Peter. Good job, Peter. For those who don't know, a lot of the people I found as mentees were people who've generally been watching for a long time. And it's very different talking to someone in a one-on-one meeting when you know that they're the only person there, and talking to someone where it looks like a one-on-one meeting, but you know that the rest of the world will eventually see this or could hear it. So yeah, I'm very appreciative that everyone's been good about that stuff. What country are you working in? Peter has shared this, so I don't feel bad sharing this for him, but Germany. One thing would be to get feedback and suggestions from team members. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard this term though before, the reformulation thing. Let me see if there's anything else really quickly that I missed, because I know there isn't usually a lot of chat. Yeah, is mentoring about programming in general? It's usually general stuff. Yeah. Thanks, development. Yeah, the Wheel of Time. I've heard about this. I can't remember if my wife has read that one. Who wrote the Wheel of Time? Was it a Sanderson book? Yeah, then she probably has read this. Hey, Tenon. Okay. Yeah, and then the should we ask questions? Yeah, I tend not to read chat during the session. This is one of the things I thought about originally is, could I manage mentoring someone and also reading things that are suggested in chat? It would make it more interactive, and like maybe I could manage it, but I'd rather just give my attention to that person I'm mentoring. I'm still undecided about where do we go from here. As I just mentioned to Peter, and everybody knew this, I said I want to do 6 to 9 sessions, and then I realized if a mentee is given a range of 6 to 9, what are they going to pick? They're probably going to pick 9. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's just do 9 sessions then. And as you can see by this spreadsheet, I've done 5 with everybody and 6 with a couple, and now 7 with Peter. So we're coming up to the end of this. Probably in 2025, it'll be a clean slate. And then, yeah, the question is more mentees, make it paid. I don't know. I don't know what my own goals are going to be. I do need to write myself a note about, I got to put that video online now. Mentoring, put video online, new template in doc, and link it in the spreadsheet. Am I taking notes? This is something I can't do. I can't listen correctly and take notes at the same time. Yeah, I am. All of what you see, this doc is not public, even though I've told all the mentees that I will show it on stream, but you don't have access to the link. But all the stuff you see typed out here is stuff I'm typing while we're talking about this stuff. And I find that this is super helpful because if I'm ever like, wait, how did we get here? Like, what are we talking about? I can just see timestamps and see what we talked about. And then for the next session, because one of the things is not super obvious, like if you look at the dates of these, they're usually about a month apart, maybe 2 months. You forget a lot of what happened in that time. So that's another thing it really, really helps for. I don't know why this has the time here too. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's definitely it for the stream. The question is that all for today? And I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna stream in the afternoon. I think I want to just take a breather. So I think I'll be back on Friday. Then I guess if I end up streaming in the afternoon, you'll get a message on Discord about it anyway. So I don't have to be too specific about it. Something like live stream software engineering consultancy sound more professional than just mentoring. It's one of those things that it sounds more professional, but it's also probably clear that you're trying to obfuscate something. It's like saying, sandwich artist instead of just, like restaurant worker. Yeah, I would recommend the same. That's where you're wrong. I'm trying to sabotage you. It's work, work, work until you're dead. All right, yeah, I am gonna get going. I'm not planning on doing another stream, so let me go raid somebody, which I usually only do if I'm not gonna do another stream. Oh, you know who we should? No, I was gonna say. No, wait. Um, let's raid Nuka DeLuca. I don't know how long he's gonna be streaming for, but he's been working on his game Infestation, and it just launched in early access. And he's got 4 viewers, so let's go say hi. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the mentoring session. I will be back probably on Friday. So yeah, see you then. Hope you have a good one.